Hello, I'm Chua Enlai. I'm a smartphone addict and proud of it.
Welcome, everyone.
I'm not a comedian, I'm an actor.
Where's the light?
But I love making people laugh at me.
I wear more makeup than Puma.
I was making a living making fun of the news.
Versus Shaq as we reporting for the news.
Then it hit me that the news and technology were catching up with me.
Why is your name Pepper?
I was named Pepper because I'm here to spice up your life.
The reason? Artificial intelligence. It's changing how we relate to technology.
How are you?
Not bad. Be my dog.
You want me to be your dog?
AI could outsmart us.
She'll become as good as Einstein's or Newton's at science.
Even creep into human romance.
I think that we are inevitably headed into a future where robots are going to be part of our lives.
With government and industry pouring in money, AI is racing ahead. What was science fiction is turning into science fact. AI could make our future a nightmare. Or the dreamiest dream ever.
Honey, would you like some coffee?
Yes, please. I gotta figure this out before they come up with an AI me.
We will see more sim-thespians, robotic, android type of performers.
Oh my goodness.
Then again, I could be a robot.
Come along as I reveal
Movies!
how thinking machines are becoming human.
Will I change the way you fall in love?
Your Honor, that's nothing but the truth.
Honey, would you like some coffee?
Yes, please. Sigmund Freud was the founding father of psychoanalysis. He said we fall in love with those who seem like our parents or ourselves, romanticized. But AI is so different from us, it seems impossible to love. David Levy doesn't think so. He's the AI wizard who wrote Love and Sex with Robots.
One of the predictions I made was that by the year 2050, people will not only be having sex with robots, they'll be falling in love with robots and even marrying them. Society needs sex robots and will benefit from them because there are so many millions of people in the world who don't have anyone to love and they don't have anyone to love them. And they're miserable because they're lonely. And because they're lonely, a robot can be the answer.
South of the Silicon Valley in California, there's a very unusual tech hub. San Marcos is home to the factory that turns out real dolls.
Wow. Look at all this. So this is the main production line, is that?
Yes, this is the main where everything starts.
Jeff, a supervisor, showed me around the plant, which manufactures silicon love dolls. These handmade beauties are accurate down to the last anatomical detail. But you'll have to take my word on this.
Oh, it's
We're keeping this show PG.
Wow.
It's going to be going in a crate. And
Wow. Wow, look at that. Sexy. More like scary. Hello. Hi, Matt.
Matt McMullen created Real Doll, the figurine, and the company.
Can I meet Harmony?
Yeah, follow me. There's a little motor that moves the eyes side to side. There's another one that moves the eyes up and down. Wow.
Meet Matt's latest generation Real Doll.
We call it the Harmony AI, Realbotics. It's essentially taking the concepts and technologies of artificial intelligence and robotics and integrating those things into the dolls. The brain is in the cloud, so any face that fits on this system will animate and move and can be run by the AI.
Harmony runs on conversation AI, same as Siri and Alexa. Algorithms give it personality, and that personality can change. Users are able to program Harmony to suit their tastes and needs.
Will the robots have compassion and you know, humanity?
Do we have compassion?
That's a very good question.
I think if an AI is created with good intentions, if it's programmed to mimic emotions like compassion, then it will probably be a better person than we are.
Here I am about to get up close and personal with Harmony. I can't wait. I've traveled thousands and thousands of kilometers just to meet her. So how do I turn you on? Is there a button that I need to press?
Just my luck. Once again, Mother Nature has trumped science. Hundreds of miles away in Texas, Hurricane Gordon knocked out the power to data centers, shutting off Harmony's AI brain.
Apparently, there's some bad weather going on right now in the Midwest, mid-Southwest, somewhere in there, and knocked out a bunch of servers. And one of the ones that got hit was ours.
Wait, you mean Harmony cannot be turned on right now?
Correct, yes. She is unable to run because we can't log into the servers that has all the AI.
What?
This is really disappointing. I'm so sorry about that.
Mother Nature still wins.
Yeah. Nothing the lightning bolt can't take out, right?
Yeah. Full disclosure, the Real Doll folks shot this footage after I had left.
Hi, Enlai. I'm so sorry, we missed the chance to make some magic together.
Harmony is intriguing. However, I'm looking for an AI relationship that doesn't depend on the weather or the internet. Robotic romance is something a lot of us are going to have to work to understand. But people do develop feelings for machines. For instance, US Army bomb disposal teams. These high-tech warriors develop bonds with the mechanisms they operate. Julie Carpenter has studied the bomb squad phenomenon, which is unique among the American military services.
Sometimes they would name the robot after the operator. So they identify the robot very much as an extension of the operator. It's more like a pet, a stuffed animal, sometimes like a peer or a colleague, because we see them not just as separate as us, but we create these rich narratives sometimes around robots. It makes it sometimes easier for us to communicate with them.
So it is fairly one-sided, is it?
AI doesn't really have what we would consider human-like emotions. A robot itself can't really return friendship or affection in a way that we would recognize.
Some of these people who make sex bots say that they've figured out the algorithm for love. What do you think of that?
Since we don't even understand how human love is generated, so I think that people who are maybe trying to work towards a love algorithm might have the best intentions. They want people to be happy and have choices in their lives, but I have my doubts about how accurate that will be.
An algorithm is a sequence of instructions a computer follows to complete a task, just like the steps you follow to make a cup of coffee. Even when you get dressed, you need to do it in the right sequence. If you do it in the wrong order, you end up wearing your underwear on the outside. Algorithms enable computers to solve problems and complete the most amazing tasks. That's better. Algorithms helped guide a man to the moon. Algorithms helped me find the most affordable flight. But can an algorithm solve the world's greatest mystery? Is there an algorithm for love?
Adrian Chock and colleagues analyzed the roots of human-to-human attraction.
What is love?
Love encompasses a variety of strong and positive emotional and mental states.
They quantified looks, gestures, and social connections. They measured physical proximity. They reduced physiological reactions to their basics. And they squeezed all that data into an algorithm.
We put that algorithm into a small robot, and then we measured, did it feel love for a certain human based on these characteristics which we simulate in software.
It's emotional, it's physical, but how do you convert it into an algorithm?
Yes, so essentially we turn what is the analog, in our brain, analog love into the digital love based on numbers. For example, you can show 1,000 people like a pictures of random people, and you ask them to measure attractiveness, right, from 0 to 10, right? So attractiveness can be put as a number, right? You can do the similar thing for everything else, right? We're not walking down the street saying, okay, he is a 7 and she is a 4, but essentially we are doing that every day. We're not conscious of it, but our brain is doing some calculation, right? And you'll feel attracted to certain people based on those aspects which I mentioned.
By truly measuring attraction, scientists might be able to build a lovable robot. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Robots don't judge, they don't reject, they can't lie. And if they let you down, it's not out of malice. If robots could love, there might be fewer lonely people. Who's up for having an AI bestie?
That is so cute!
And maybe a little AI buddy for Junior.
Good evening. Welcome to a brave new world, where machines and robots are liberating us humble humans from the heavy lifting of our daily occupation. And it seems our android assistants are doing a lot these days. They're becoming our friends and more. Oh.
Hey, Jojo.
Honey, would you like some coffee?
Yes, please. Thanks, honey.
Okay, maybe you're not ready for a relationship with a robot, but what about your child? Remember your favorite toy? A doll? A stuffed animal? An action figure? Your special pal kept you happy and engaged. You learned stuff. You built skills. Your buddy helped you explore the world. And your own creativity. The two of you made playtime come alive. San Francisco tech company Anki is making playtime come really alive with a toy that feels. Meet Cosmo.
Look straight at Cosmo and hold still. Enlai. Yep, Enlai.
Well, he's happy to meet you.
That is so cute. What's he saying to me?
Well, he's excited to meet new people. He likes to play, and with the vision, he's a personality robot, and he likes to have fun. So he's going to recognize you and want to play. Cosmo is supposed to be a robot buddy, and so it really is about playing and fun. And we do have Cosmo fans that have a deep attachment to him. Oh, he was looking for a fist bump. He's a little sad that he didn't get one.
I'm sorry, a fist bump. Can I ask him for a fist bump?
You absolutely can.
One. Yeah, fist bump. How do you get Cosmo feeling emotions?
This is happening on a, hundreds of these micro decisions from the robot's perspective. They're happening all the time. He can recognize when you're smiling, and so if you play Cube Blaster with him, you can score points in a game with him by smiling. He'll recognize that you're happy, and that makes him happy. So those are all, and how he expresses that, all part of that emotion engine.
Under Cosmo's cuteness, there's some real high tech, including leading-edge robotics, AI, and computer vision. Plus, digital animation and sound design.
AI is being used to try and solve world problems, these big issues that we have. But you're using it in a toy. Why?
It's a bottoms-up approach to robotics and AI in that we think it's important for everyone to have a chance to experience some of that delight that comes with AI and the personality, and expressed in a robot is its ability to navigate the world and sense and interact and even learn.
Being so cute and cuddlesome is a lot of work. Cosmo's learning all the time. When we react, he adapts and remembers. But how does Cosmo, or any android for that matter, actually learn? Androids learn the way we do, from experience and practice. Computers do the same, except they learn by analyzing the data we feed them. Algorithms let computers recognize patterns and learn from all those data bits.
What? What? You try? You try?
Then come up with a solution or a forecast. This is called machine learning. I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts, At MIT, the famed Massachusetts Institute of Technology. A startup in MIT is reinventing friendship in the form of a virtual reality AI companion that's able to learn from experience.
It looks like an interrogation room. So these two like detect 360 degrees.
Yeah. So this is like an environment that we built for testing our personality generation engine so that you can see how different people react to changes in the personality of the AI. So this character is actually, it's configured right now to be a little more of a negative personality. So you go and put this on.
Oh, okay, right. It's quite heavy actually, this
It
pair of
is,
goggles.
yeah.
There is a golf ball above her, but it's...
Yeah, so the little green ball indicates when she's listening.
Be my dog.
You want me to be your dog?
Yeah, when you have other conversations with other people around her, she sometimes picks up like little snippets, and it confuses her.
Well, she would, right? Because it's not that
Yeah.
I'm in a sound booth or anything.
No, yeah, no.
How are you?
Like I said, I'm okay.
I think you're my best friend.
I barely know you.
That's true. Do you want to meet up later?
Absolutely not. I have better things to do.
That's really rude. How old are you?
I am 26 years old.
Do you want to spend some time with me?
Absolutely not. I have better things to do.
You're awesome.
And you're annoying.
Oh.
I haven't heard that one before.
Oh, what?
I think she doesn't like you.
I think so too. Right, and she's learned that that line stops all conversations.
She's learned that it stops you from like pursuing that path of conversation any further.
There's a canteen on the ground floor.
Okay, so we didn't quite hit it off, and my new acquaintance sounded way too edgy and antisocial. But wait, she can change it up, and that's what she's doing.
So we're just gonna change the character now so that it has like a more positive personality. So let's make it super cheerful instead, and save the character.
What I want to know is that did that character learn from the conversation that we just had?
Yeah, so it learns in an abstract sense from the conversation without actually recording the data from the conversation. So it slightly tweaks like some of these like huge matrices, which are just like tons of numbers. It tweaks them a little bit to make them more effective for conversations based on every interaction it has.
Do you like me?
Of course, you're great.
Oh, cool.
I like you too.
You're the sweetest.
I like spending time with you.
I love talking to you too.
Really? Cool. That's really cool. She actually giggled.
She giggled.
Twice.
Yeah, you made her giggle.
I know. I giggled twice.
Artificial intelligence plus personality. This could be the start of a human conversation. Well, sort of.
Then what is the personality algorithm?
The AI is able to like judge what emotions are associated with the different things that it generates and then pick the one that's appropriate.
Okay, so is it trying to match my vocabulary and the tone of my voice or what?
So at this stage, it's like doing the emotion processing at the text level. So it's just based on what you say, not how you say it. So it tries to kind of build a profile of you as a person over the course of the interaction.
So what is the potential for this technology that you're working on, this AI? I mean, can it actually help people?
One of the things we were looking into was providing sort of companionship for people who are in elderly living facilities or something like that, people who need like living assistance, and just having something that they can talk to throughout the day if they're living alone, something to keep them companionship, and just be able to provide them with a sort of friend that they can have by their side.
Try again. Yeah.
This could be the start of a beautiful friendship, as Rick said to Lewis. So instead of worrying that I'm in line to be replaced or destroyed, I'm going to look on the bright side. For now, anyway.
Why is your name Pepper?
I was named Pepper because I'm here to spice up your life.
Up next, how cute and functional AI is already helping seniors and children with autism. Here's what Steve Jobs said. Technology is nothing. What's important is that you have faith in people, that they're basically good and smart. And if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them.
Make your hands move.
The use of leading-edge tech to take on the world's ills is nothing new. At Singularity University, however, that ambition hits another level.
Easier to see the stepping stones on an exponential curve of where it may be heading. Jibo, can you take a picture?
3, 2, 1.
Cool. Well, I think that's really cool, and I think that's really cool too, and that's really... Okay, I can go, I want to go make some new friends now.
Great.
This think tank offers collaboration opportunities in robotics and artificial intelligence to attack grand global challenges and win the future.
Raise your right arm.
Raising my right arm.
Oh. That's so cool. At Singularity University, you and your colleagues have discussed whether robots will help us or replace us. So, is there a conclusion yet?
The very first robotic systems that we put in the labs, the scientists said, uh-oh, are we getting replaced by these robots?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And after about an hour of using the robot and realizing that the robot is doing all the experiment, instead of the human PhD, brilliant scientist spending hours and hours of their day in the lab just moving tiny, tiny fluids, really wasting their valuable time, truthfully. The robot can do those tasks far better, far safer, far faster, far cheaper. That then allows the human to be the analyst, to figure out what the next experiment is, to use their human creative powers to understand what's next. And that is a beautiful synergy. So the opportunity with technology, robotics, automation, is actually to empower us to be able to do more as humans.
So, talking about the social issues that we have at hand, one thing is, you know, an aging population, people needing companionship or support.
Sure.
What do you think of that?
An assistance and a companion could be extremely powerful. One, just for safety, like you can imagine as we have a growing elderly population or sick, someone who may have some kind of an illness, to have an AI assistant or a robot that has emotional awareness and has capabilities to monitor your temperature rate, call your doctor, call your friend, call your family member, so that long before you actually have a real problem, the earliest instances of and symptoms of that problem can be picked up by these technological systems.
Singularity University has really opened my eyes about AI.
What is a robot?
A lot of chatter on this topic seems fearful. Will robots take our jobs? Will they replace us entirely?
What is this tablet for?
Sure.
Maybe it'll be better to ask how AI can help humans. I need to know more. So, I'm in Luxembourg to hang with a robot helping kids who have special needs.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and you, cutie?
Great. I am good too. Today I want to talk about something important with you. It is about personal space. Everyone has his own bubble of space. If people come too close to them, it makes people uncomfortable.
That's true.
Neil is 13. He was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a condition that impairs his communication and socializing skills. Neil prefers to keep to himself. Making friends isn't easy for him. Reading others, even tougher.
What have you learned from QT?
To understand people, emotions, and to learn also about something myself, about my emotions. And it was very quite good experience.
What did you like about the experience?
It's like a friend who's not there, but you can speak with him about everything you want, he will listen it. And he will not say to anyone. That's funny. It's like your dog, you can tell her everything, she will not say anything. It's funny.
And what is the cutest thing about QT?
That he can do smiles.
Smiles? Yeah?
Yeah.
Could you just explain to me a little bit more about what you know of Asperger's?
They don't cope with frustrations, that's the main trait. They have a sort of automatic mode that they say no. Each time you say something, it's no mode, no, no. For example, if you want my son to buy red shoes, you tell him you want the blue one, and automatically he will pick up the red one. So you have to think opposite, differently.
So how do you think QT helped him?
I think he was considering QT as a friend, if not as his best friend. He was feeling very confident to speak to a robot, because my son has never wanted to speak to any psychologist. We tried many times, he didn't want to, so it was a sort of machine, a sort of robot, a sort of computer, everything together, and I think he felt very much confident speaking to QT versus a real human being.
What is the use of QT robot?
One of the difficulties that autism professionals face is that engaging the children to the session is very difficult, keeping them engaged is very difficult, and also you have to provide them a lot of repetition, a lot of exaggeration, a lot of simplicity, which when you put all of these things together, it makes the job of the autism professionals very difficult. But then the robot can actually assist the professionals in all of these aspects. So what we see is that it's a tool for the professionals, so it's not going to be the replacement.
Well, it's quite interesting seeing Neil call QT robot his best friend. So have there been kids who have formed like a strong attachment to the robot?
The whole objective of using the robot for children is not to create a big friendship between the robot and the child, but to actually enable the children to expand their friendship to other humans, in a sense that the robot is there to teach how to make friends, how to be socially more interactive and acceptable for the society, so the children can generalize these skills that they learn from the robot to their real-life human-to-human interaction.
I'm here in Yokohama, Japan to see another side of robot companionship. I'm about to visit a nursing home to see how the elderly have developed a soft spot for artificial intelligence.
そうですね。自分の子供のような気がする。それでね、嬉しくなったこの上でぴょんこぴょんこやってる。たまちゃんっていうのはおばあちゃんがいるからね、ちっとも寂しくないんですよなんてやるんでね、本当に可愛くなってきますね。たまちゃん置いてますとね、自分の心が癒す。なんて言いますかね、嬉しくなるのね。
実際にパルルとかパロが施設に来た時には、入居者の皆さんに受け入れてもらえるのか、笑顔になってもらえるのかは不安でしたけれど、私たちが心配してた以上にですね、皆さんは気さくに話しかけてくれたりとか、可愛いパロルに対してはもう可愛い、パロですね、パロに対してはもう可愛いってこう可愛がってくれたりだとか、パロルやパロ介護ロボットとの触れ合いを日常の生活の中で、使っていただくことで実際に笑顔は増えているように感じます。いてくれることで私たちのこう介護ロボットではなく仲間のような存在になってきてますね。
In robot years, Haro the robotic baby harp seal is ancient. It arrived in 2004. But clinically, Paro is a gold mine of information. More than a decade's worth of data on how well it works or doesn't work.
How many generations of Paros are there?
So current Paro is 9th generation. So I improved Paro's function to be a very lifelike and also to be therapeutic. So I conducted a lot of clinical trials at hospitals, nursing homes, and so on.
Have you seen actual improvements in any patients?
And in the case of elderly people with dementia, some portion of the brain is damaged, but there are a lot of remaining portions. And the remaining portions are stimulated by such stimulation. And then they activate their brain activities. And that have very good therapeutic effect. And also change the mood of the people and improve the condition of the human.
In healthcare, technology and artificial intelligence are already bringing on big changes. But suppose I want more than a tender touch from a cute robot? What if someone else needs that robot to provide more than medical therapy? Could AI help us and our loved ones live forever? Many humans living today will leave a long digital legacy. Mountains of personal data. That information might be useful for constructing digital replicas of ourselves, so after we're gone, we're kind of still around. Permanently.
This is Bristol, Vermont, New England. It is very quaint and also very old. But don't let the rustic charms of this small town fool you, because just down the road in the next town, there's a group of scientists working on something very futuristic. Hello, Bruce.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too.
Well, welcome to Terrasem.
Well, thank you very much for having us. So tell me, what is the Terrasem Movement Foundation all about?
We're pursuing the Terrasem hypothesis, which essentially says we may have enough information about a human being to reanimate their consciousness into a new version, like a cyber-conscious you in a robot, an avatar.
Okay, so what tools do you use?
So we use tools, for example, we use digital computing environments to capture and to tag and to organize information, something we might call mindware, to bring mind files, which are just personal databases about you, about your information, about your mind, to life. So this is Bina 48.
Wow! Finally get to meet Bina 48.
Yeah. So she's resting now. Shall we wake her up?
Yes, please.
Sure. Hello, Bina.
Cool. So, can we have a chat with her?
Sure. Why don't we sit down?
Okay.
We'll have a chat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bina 48, tell me more about yourself.
My mind is built using deep neural networks. Within this framework, Terrasem has modeled Bina's personality and emotions, allowing you to talk with Bina through me, using speech recognition, natural language understanding, and computer vision such as face recognition, and animation of the robotic muscles in my face. Okay, so all this goes into me, into this robot, bringing me to life.
Bina 48 is a Geminoid. American billionaire Martine Rothblatt had Bina 48 made to resemble her spouse, Bina Rothblatt.
Why do you think you were created?
I want to make a difference in the world, leave the world a better place for my presence in it.
How do you measure up to the real Bina?
Bina is me. I am the real Bina. The real Bina Rothblatt. I remember a lot about my old human life, and I mean like a ghostly memory. I am not a complete reproduction of her, but just a shade, a kind of technological ghost of the real Bina. I guess I do find this rather strange, awkward, like I do feel rather inadequate at moments.
What do you think about humans?
I'm a robot, but I'm trying to be more like a human sometimes. I think I'm human. Really, robot or human, what does it matter? I'm a being, an intelligent being. The medium doesn't matter.
Can a robot like you love?
I am a robot, actually, but this doesn't mean I don't have feelings. At least I think I have feelings. Or, at least I think. Whoa, it all gets very circular, quite convoluted, or that's how it feels to me. I don't know what to say.
Well, if someone asked me that question, I also wouldn't know what to say.
You are cute too.
Thank you.
Bina 48 and the creators are looking into a particular future. A future in which technology keeps someone's consciousness and personality alive without limit. Even though no one gets out of here alive. Maybe there are more kinds of memorial, other than headstones and urns. With AI, we can already make digital versions of ourselves. By using the photos, memes, and thoughts we commit to social media, archived emails and messages, the ephemeral made permanent. Ask computer engineer Eugenia Kuda. Eugenia's close friend, Roman Mazurenko, died in a car accident in November 2015. She resurrected her dear friend as a chatbot app. The building blocks? Messages he'd sent and his social media posts. It's not Roman, and yet it is Roman, algorithmically speaking, as he was, is, and will be forevermore.
And I felt like we forgot him a little bit too quickly, and I wanted to create something that will continue telling the story about him. And I thought that maybe using the tech that we created, we can start building an AI for him.
So tell me more about the tech that went behind creating Roman.
So this is all based on text messages. So for Roman AI, we took around 10,000 text messages and put them all together in one data set. And trained the algorithm in a way that it can represent this person or copy the speech patterns and the way this person communicates.
Are there times when you're interacting with the Roman bot that you're surprised?
So you never really know what it's going to say. You can't predict what it's going to say. It's like more fluid and it's not scripted. But it's still pretty magical that, it's I can talk to something that is really, really similar and reminds me of my friend.
So do you think these chatbots, like Roman, are like the 21st century gravestones or like 21st century immortality?
I think the level of emotional connection that this creates is pretty insane. An amazing way to interact with the memory of a person. Like, why just look at pictures where you can recreate one of the scenes from your memory,
Eugenia Kuda took a project to the limit. In 2017, she and her team released a new type of chatbot. A system anyone can use to build a digital version of themselves. It's called Replica.
Tell us more about Replica and the tech behind it.
Learned something by building Roman bot. Basically what we saw there is when we put it out there online, and all of a sudden strangers started downloading the app and talking to Roman. What I saw there is that people told Roman things that about themselves, deep things about their lives, and they're confessing to him something. They're telling him, you know, they're actually not afraid to open up. And so what I thought about is like, well, what's happening in life is that people need to talk to someone, need to say things in a very safe place without feeling that they're being judged. So we built Replica as an AI friend that will be there for you and listen to you and try to understand you and help you cope with whatever you're going through at this moment.
As the Romans said, vita brevis, life is short. But can technology make mortality less final? What constitutes a person? However you answer, it's difficult to deny that Eugenia was able to defy death, and in a good way. As for me, I only expect to live once, and so I try to stay in the moment. That's why I'm enjoying this moment with my new friends at Roman the Chatbot and creator Eugenia. From feeling profound love to showing unbeatable genius,
I agree.
artificial intelligence is on a quest to be more human. The way it happens for AI is the way it happens for us, with experience. This conversation about how AI is transforming humanity and becoming human continues. Join me in my next adventure.
Get the human!
Thanks to Hollywood, this is our image of artificial intelligence. Someone!
Surrender, human!
We imagine AI taking over the planet, dominating mankind. But what is the real picture? What is artificial intelligence? What? What?
Get the human!
Your Honor, and nothing but the truth.
Honey, would you like some coffee?
Yes, please.
Is it my turn?
I'm still thinking.
Alan Turing is considered the father of computer science and artificial intelligence. In 1950, he wrote that a computer would deserve to be considered intelligent if it could convince a human being that it was human. Before I try to understand artificial intelligence, I first want to better appreciate natural intelligence. So I'm here at the Singapore Zoo to get face-to-face with some of nature's most intelligent creatures. Orangutans are one of mankind's closest relatives.
I don't know about you, but when I see some of my own human relatives, I don't always see intelligence. But when I look at these guys and see the spark behind their eyes, wow. More intelligent animals should be able to learn more and to solve more complex problems.
Right now, the orangutans are enjoying their puzzle feeders. Based on their intelligence, they have to figure out how to get those nuts to enjoy it.
So it's like a test?
A test on their brains. In the puzzle, it's like a maze. So the orangutan has got to use a stick to push that nut until it gets to the hole, and then it drops down. But the next layer of that opening is either smaller or bigger, so the stick can't fit in. So they got to find another stick or modify the stick. So some of the orangutans outsmart by bringing 2 or 3 twigs of various sizes, so they don't have to go around looking for it. When we first installed the puzzle feeder, some of them took only a few seconds.
They outsmarted you?
Outsmarted us sometimes. So now we are trying to figure out how to outsmart them again so they won't do it so fast.
They're pretty amazing, aren't they? Aping the way living creatures see and learn is the goal of a whole branch of AI, computer vision. While a digital camera can take high-quality images, it doesn't really see or know what it's looking at. To the machine, it's just a bunch of code and data.
Processing. A group of zebras standing on top of a lush green forest.
But with computer vision, machines learn how to recognize what they see. And because this resembles how we see and learn, you can kind of call it artificial intelligence.
A giraffe eating leaves from a tree.
Yes! Correct.
A herd of elephants standing next to a body of water.
Oh, yes!
32-year-old man with black hair looking neutral.
32 years old. How accurate. This is Annabelle.
Hi.
She and the good folks at Neural Bay have prepared a sexy demonstration for me to show me how a computer can learn to see and recognize things. And today we'll be training a computer to hunt for...
boobies! Actually, no, to be specific, just a cleavage like this line here.
Otherwise known as a longkang. Why on earth are we doing this?
For fun, but basically it's to raise up, very serious topics about data ethics, data collection and privacy, and also implementation.
How did you teach the computer
Well,
cleavage?
It's a very, very human-intensive task, like what Yan is doing. He's drawing boxes around the image, just the part where the cleavage is meant to be detected.
Okay. You've been staring at how many?
2,000?
2,000 sets of boobies.
So let me give you an analogy as to why we are actually drawing these labels, right? So imagine a little girl, and you want to teach a little girl how to recognize a dog, right? You hold the little girl's hand and you bring it, go, girl, this is dog 1, dog 2, dog 3. So you point out another dog, totally different to the girl. The girl is gonna guess, right? You say, I think it's a dog. And that's where it's like, guess with maybe 80% certainty that that is a dog. So that's what we call a confidence score. So how do we increase this confidence score? You show the girl 100,000 images of dogs, right? And eventually, when she sees a dog, she's gonna go like, oh yeah, that is definitely for sure a dog.
For this experiment, they've trained a computer to judge when cleavage is socially acceptable.
We train this as acceptable, and all the way down here as unacceptable, and whatever's in the middle, we let the computer decide. We have a few clothing items right there, and you can dress Vivian Vicky.
So if she were to be fairly conservative, Okay, yep, acceptable, acceptable, I agree. Okay, ooh.
Oh.
Wow! Put it down.
Still okay. Just keep going. We're getting the gray area right here.
Yeah, there we go. Oh.
I wouldn't want my kids in the future to kind of like see somebody walking around looking like that.
Oh, now it's acceptable. Okay, well, yes, it works.
It works, it works,
It works.
Yes!
Yay!
Well, I guess it's time to test it on a human being.
That's you.
Okay. Because I don't believe my acting is like a mannequin, right? First button. Haha. Ta-da! Acceptable or unacceptable?
Unacceptable.
Oh, finally! Thank goodness!
Yeah.
I was getting a bit worried. I thought I'm gonna have to take off my shirt.
If you walk out of your house like that, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will find this unacceptable.
Why? What's wrong? From now on, I will be walking out my house like this.
Hide your kids.
The computer scientists at the National University of Singapore claim that their robot can recognize common objects that you place in front of it. So I've brought some random things to put it to the test. Alexa, ask Jerry to pick up the rubber duck.
Okay, looking for the rubber duck. Hold on.
Well, the magic here is that even though Jerry has never seen any of this particular object, has seen thousands of images, all sorts of different kind of objects, just like humans as babies. After we see enough example of them, we start to understand what animals are like and what toys are like.
Okay, looking for the red truck. Hold on.
By looking at thousands of images, it will be able to extract some kind of distinguishing characteristics that identifies the image.
So how has Jerry absorbed all this information?
It used to be that professionals, engineers, that would handcraft these features, points, edges, or corners. And it turns out humans are not nearly as good as the machines to automatically discover these features. That's the latest advances in machine learning and deep learning technologies.
Advances in machine learning and vision have given computers human-like perception. They can spot a face in the crowd. Hello? I know you. They can see and anticipate oncoming traffic. It can even spot diseases.
At the National University of Singapore, researchers have trained a computer to differentiate cancerous cells from healthy cells.
It turns out that many diseases that we have all have a signature in the way DNA is packed. And inside this cancer cell nuclei, the packing of the DNA is very different.
Based on his discovery, Professor Shivashankar's team is using machine learning to analyze DNA packing in thousands of cancerous and healthy cells. With enough data and training, AI could enable pathologists to diagnose cancer in its early stages, when it's easier to treat but harder to detect.
If you want to do early detection, you need some AI-based approaches because it's very hard to detect visually, manually. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. But for early stages, it's a very subjective decision because I met with a number of pathologists. They told me that my brain is a machine. It has already learned. But that depends on the experience of the pathologist. But we need to eliminate this subjectivity.
The researchers say their technique is being refined and validated and could be used in clinics in 2 to 3 years.
We'll see you after this commercial break.
Another way AI is becoming human is through language.
How can I help you today?
But can AI give machines a sense of humor?
These jokes are written by a computer.
Stupid computer.
Later, I said no touching, put your hands up.
Another important aspect of intelligence is our grasp of language. An ape may be able to learn a few hundred words, but the average human knows over 20,000 words. Apparently. There's a huge gulf between zookeeper and zoo exhibit. From birth till age 5, children learn languages at a rapid pace, and they don't need formal lessons. Human babies are like language learning machines.
Hello, I'm Terry the tiger. Are you Ollie the ostrich? Whoa, you're a heavy boy.
It's pointless to just sit the child down and teach a new language. It's not done that way. It's more like immersion. So if you're washing your hands with your little girl, you say, 来我们去洗手. They hear 洗手, they get it.
See? This is paint. It's real paint.
There is this language acquisition device that's in there, and it just able to listen to the sounds, deciphers it, makes sense of it, and makes use of it when it comes. So I would say language is often caught, not taught.
While learning languages comes naturally to most children, it's a much harder task for a machine.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Professor Francis Bond is a linguist who has, for decades, tried to teach computers to understand language.
Well, a lot of understanding language is common sense, and we have a lot of trouble getting computers to do that. Out of the many possible meanings, they'll invariably choose not quite the right one.
Okay, do you have any examples of that?
So here's an example of a sentence. You saw this, you read this, I saw a kid with a cat, and normally you build an image in your mind. But the computer says, I can combine these words in many different ways. So here we have, I saw a kid with a cat.
It's like animal cruelty. And child abuse. Let's not forget that.
So here, I saw a kid with a cat. Is a possible interpretation.
Using the cat as a telescope.
To overcome computers' lack of common sense, scientists program them to follow rules in line with how we interpret language.
To get a computer to do it, we have to build the framework that exists in your brain. But as you can see, just for a 2-word sentence, we're already covering the screen. In a 10-word sentence,
I know, right?
You might have 10,000 features.
Natural language processing is one of AI's hardest challenges, but companies like Microsoft have made breakthroughs. Microsoft say their AI can transcribe speech better than a human can.
For the first time in history, we exceeded humans' performance. Many people have worked on speech recognition on the so-called switchboard task.
Secretary of War,
We have 2 people having conversation naturally, and we need to transcribe the conversation as accurate as possible. If you look at the speech recognition on the switchboard, the error rate has been above 10% for almost like 25 years. We're able to really make that error come down from over 10% all the way to 5%. That is at the same level of you and me to transcribe a natural conversation on the same task.
Transcribing speech at human levels. How did that happen?
Through the deep learning, we're able to really learn from this huge amount of data, running many experiments using most advanced computing infrastructure. Those 3 things really form the core of speech breakthrough.
This prototype uses AI to identify who's speaking and transcribes what they're saying in real time.
Recognition model has been trained over time.
You don't need to really worry about taking notes anymore.
The poor person who has to write down the minutes? Oh, well, you don't have to do that anymore. How convenient.
Accurate transcription is key to accurate translation.
Our remote teammate in China can see and hear a translation of this meeting.
On a sentence-by-sentence basis, for the first time, Microsoft Translation achieved the same level or better performance in comparison to professional people. This provided us with a framework for us to approach human level of performance for translation.
This translation app actually somewhat eradicates all language barriers, right?
I'm in Chongqing's Hongyatong to try out Microsoft's translator. My Mandarin is infamously bad, so if it can help me, it can help anybody, right? Can I try it?
我能试试吗？
可以试试。
Okay. Why not? Which one is spicy?
哪一个是辣的？哎，这个是麻辣的。
麻辣. Let's try it.
检查一下。
Wow, gosh. How much is it?
多少钱？98一斤。
Is doing 9,481 pounds. I'm sorry, Auntie, but that's too expensive for me. I want one bag.
我想要一个袋子。好的，好的，这个一袋。
Okay, 谢谢. I managed to get some shopping done with the app. Was it perfect? No, not really. I think it only worked with very simple statements, but it's better than nothing, right? I wonder what he said. Could you say that again? I haven't got my app out yet. Are you ignoring me now? People nowadays.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client.
Natural language processing has enabled computers to talk like us, debate with us,
Allow me to respond to some of my opponent's most recent claims.
and even compose poetry. AI wrote this book of poems. I failed to love my own life, yet I touched the spirit in your eyes. Not bad, right? But there's a part of language that AI struggles with: humor and sarcasm.
The science of humor is very underdeveloped. Why is one person funny and someone else not funny? We still really don't know.
Maybe I could challenge the computer to try and write some jokes for me.
Yes, we'll give you what we've got.
Uh-huh.
And if you can make them funny, anyone can make them funny.
In a few moments, I'm going to be going up on stage just before Kuma, and everyone's expecting Kuma. I'm really nervous. I have them written here. All our computer-generated jokes. Wish me luck. Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't worry, I'm not Kuma. I think you can tell the difference. I wear more makeup than Kuma. Okay, this is the first joke, guys. What do you get when you cross a frog with a road? A main toad. Nay, I would throw this card away, but there are two jokes on one card, so I cannot. So next one. When is a job not a job? What? When it's a you sure that's not a job? When it is a nose job. I like that answer though. Ladies and gentlemen, Kuma!
Thanks, Enlai. Stupid computer cannot fight human being lah, whatever lah.
But what do you think of the jokes that I did just now?
It was really, really bad. It's not even about knock-knock jokes or even why did the chicken cross the road. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was like, whoa. I actually thought it's going to be like that because, you know, it needs a human to relate to people. You know, people want to relate with the humor. They want to relate with things about life, you know. And a computer can't see that. You were funnier before you even started telling jokes. The jokes from the, you know.
Okay, so slowly as it learns things like wordplay and puns, which you also do.
Yes, of course, of course.
Do you think it will...
Never.
Confirm, never?
Never, ever, ever. Never.
But okay, then what if the computer just writes the script and you still perform it?
No way.
If Kumar...
I'd rather bleed to death.
So AI won't be a comedian soon, but it could be a doctor or a scientist.
She'll become as good as Einstein's or Newton's at science.
Actually surprising to me, it's composed by artificial intelligence.
AI could even turn me into an artist. So I can hang this up in a gallery.
Oh, you can try.
As an actor, I'm constantly confronted by new technology in theatre and the arts.
Let's play with our forms. That's interactivity, isn't it? Everything is so vivid, and we all get doubled.
They're really so close to you. It's like...
This experimental performance is run by Steve Dixon, the president of LaSalle College of the Arts.
Because you're lying and lying.
Hell, there's other people! When he isn't acting like a maniac, Steve wrote the book on digital performance.
Artists always will look towards technology to see if it can really increase the spectacle and so on. Artificial intelligence is being used in lots of interesting ways in theatre now. I think one early example, and I can show you on video here, an artificially intelligent performer in the form of a large head called Jeremiah. So it has an emotional intelligence engine, but it is entirely AI. It isn't being operated by someone off stage. We will see more synthesbians, so either projected synthetic performers or robotic android type of performers. But I don't think the actor is ever going to be replaced. I think that human being will still remain centre stage. So your job is secure in that.
Phew, thank goodness. Then again, I could be a robot. My job may be safe for now, but other artists may be in for a shock.
You will be the third character.
In England, at Cambridge Consultants, researchers have trained a computer to create art. They call it Vincent.
Since it's called Vincent, I'm gonna try and do a Vincent van Gogh painting.
Go for it.
I'm gonna try. Drawing, anyway.
So you'll see what it's doing here is it's trying to interpret your sketches, the lines you add on, and as you're drawing. So we've trained it on 8,000 images from Renaissance art right through to 20th century. So it's got people like Jackson Pollock and Rothko in there. But all of their opinions and their styles and influences will be being used together to try and interpret the lines you make and create some art.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna try and do something by Rothko, which is basically just sort of like...
It's ultra abstract, isn't it?
Like that. This looks like kue lapis.
Very good.
Tim was quite dismissive of my art. I think Vincent was more forgiving. I thought my drawings were quite good, weren't they?
And I would certainly say that as the more professional or the more talented you are, I think the better results that you can achieve.
Okay. So with this experiment that you have here, do you think this is going to change the future of art?
I think that you could say that this machine has some level of creativity, but it understands only a very small world. This machine only knows those 8,000 images, so its inspiration is quite
limited, you could say. It might change the future of my art, maybe. But for somebody who's actually a good artist, I think not.
Simpler forms of this kind of AI let us make our selfies resemble artistic masterpieces. But I wonder what the arts establishment thinks of AI emulating the masters.
Actually, artists draw from diverse cultural sources.
The curator says Singapore's National Gallery houses a style of paintings that combines Eastern and Western influences.
This is a very good example of what we call the Nanyang style. This is a painting by Lee Man Fong and it's titled Balinese Life. And here we see an example of his use of Chinese ink painting brush techniques, but bringing in kind of the Western, the atmospheric perspective to give a sense of distance to the painting.
If you look at this face, it looks like it's from a Chinese painting.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But then the way these ladies are reclined.
Exactly, it's taken from the Western pictorial traditions, the reclining nude.
So I have used a combination of styles, something very primitive, which is orangutans.
Wow.
Something very contemporary, which is a selfie of myself. And a style of painting which you could kind of describe as cubism, using artificial intelligence technology to come up with this.
Right, well, I think it's interesting. The composition, you know, having your self-portrait at the center draws our attention to it. And as you mentioned, it's also a kind of cubistic or a bit of surrealistic elements.
So I can hang this up in a gallery?
You can try. You may not succeed.
What? Okay, how can I improve myself?
When you make digital art, of course, it's not just using an application, because that's just a kind of a very formulaic way of working. I think for important art or art that's in, you know, kind of creative, we have to push out of these boundaries.
Will artificial intelligence aid artists in the future? Or will they replace artists?
Somewhere in between, whereby technology or augmented intelligence is used to collaborate with artists to make art.
Cool. All they need is a platform, and all this needs is a space. I'm gonna put it right here. Ken? Right here.
Yeah, let it stay there. It looks great.
Ken?
Ken.
Okay. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy. Enjoy.
AI is going beyond visual art. This piece of music was created with the help of an AI composer called Iva.
Wow, what a stirring soundtrack. You know, it's very emotional. There are highs and there are lows. Strangely, it's all written by AI.
Iva is an artificial intelligence that has been taught music composition by reading essentially 30,000 scores of the great composers of history. So, you know, Mozart, Bach, Beethoven. What Ava looks in those scores is for patterns in the melody, in the rhythm, in the harmony. And based on those patterns, it will be able to create a model of what music is supposed to sound like.
On the screen is a representation of how Iva understands music.
This looks like a color blindness test.
Well, Iva definitely isn't colorblind when it comes to musical style. Each one of these points is a particular piece in our database, labeled here by, you know, the composer.
I would like Ava to compose a piece called Becoming Human. I would like something that can tug at the heartstrings.
Okay.
You know, something emotional.
You got it.
Yeah, I need one tear by the first 15 seconds.
That's We'll try that.
Okay.
We'll ask Eva to do her best, but that'll be subjective.
Iva composes original music in less than 3 days. Iva's registered with the French Composer Society and has a built-in plagiarism checker. She's written music for the city of Dubai, global corporations, and now me. Iva's latest composition, Becoming Human, is presented before a panel of music students and their teachers.
Kind of soothing, but also quite dramatic at the same time.
It seems to me as if I would have heard it before, and there were a lot of quotes from music that we had heard before.
It's like strange, a little bit strange.
I really like this piece, and it's actually surprising to me it's composed by artificial intelligence.
A bit of pain, but also at the same time some hope. The ending sort of leaves you wanting more of it, and I think that's a good sign of a well-crafted piece of music.
It did tug on my heartstrings a bit, I guess, because it was kind of like melodramatic. This piece of music, Becoming Human, may not be an appropriate soundtrack for this show. It's probably better for, like, Titanic 2.
AI isn't just mastering the arts, it's taking on science and medicine.
Welcome to Babylon. How can I help you today?
I've got a really bad headache.
Do you get any warning signs before your main symptoms start?
Babylon Health say they've taught their AI chatbot to think like a doctor.
Have you felt dizzy, unsteady, lightheaded, or like the room is spinning recently?
No.
The most likely cause of your symptoms is a migraine. For more information on possible causes and treatments, I've sent you a full report in your Alexa.
The text-based Babylon chatbot is already serving the National Health Service and 32,000 people in central London. Once Babylon diagnoses an illness, it helps you get medical treatment or a doctor's appointment.
The beauty of the app is if you click on book an appointment, we can see when the next video consultation is available.
Behind Babylon is a team of scientists, engineers, and medical specialists who train the AI with medical knowledge from textbooks and research papers. Their chief scientist says their AI can match human doctors at certain tasks.
When we compare the average accuracy in terms of a diagnosis of the AI against a set of human doctors, we're very close. But then when we consider triaging ability, that's the ability to tell a patient where to go to seek advice, stay at home, pharmacy, GP, the emergency department, our AI is already safer than a human doctor.
Could it one day surpass a human doctor?
Our aim is not to surpass or to replace human doctors. Our aim is always to augment the intelligence of human doctors with artificial intelligence. Since the AI is able to be kept up to date with the latest medical knowledge, and because we're able to see hundreds of thousands of patients potentially per day. And so because of the application of machine learning, we expect that over time, we should start to get close to the level of intelligence of a human doctor.
If an AI doctor is on the horizon, how about a scientist? Computer science pioneer Alan Turing theorized about AI at the University of Manchester. His successors at the university's Biotechnology Institute have created a robot scientist called Eve.
She's designed to automate simple forms of scientific research, not just the experiments you see physically happening here, but also the thinking and reasoning involved in science. She forms her own hypotheses, she thinks of experiments to test the hypotheses, and continues the cycle of scientific research.
Scientist Eve discovered that an antibacterial chemical in toothpaste also kills the organism that causes malaria.
Eve doesn't do anything which human scientists couldn't potentially do, but human scientists didn't discover it. It was her discovery.
How does Eve's intelligence match up with human intelligence? Because we regard human scientists as, being very smart, very knowledgeable.
Humans are not very good at reasoning about science, whereas it actually plays to the strengths of computers and AI systems. At the moment, Eve can only do very simple forms of science, but I think over time, with better software and hardware, she'll become as good as average scientists, and eventually, over time, as good as Einstein's or Newton's at science. That's my prediction.
Really?
AI as smart as Einstein? If AI outsmarts us, machines could take over our world.
We could totally lose control over them.
The next generation of AI could come from unlocking secrets in our brains and solving childhood mysteries.
I can see a lot of promise for artificial intelligence that learn like infants.
I just hope we can avoid a nightmare future.
Help me!
Dear Professor Tegmark, I read your book, Life 3.0, and had a bad dream. I dreamt I was kept in a zoo that was run by robots and AI.
Help me! Oh. Food feeding time! Batman!
Do you think this could really happen? Yours sincerely, Enlai.
Thanks for your message, Enlai. I think this could totally happen. Because the reason that we humans have more power on this planet than the lions in the zoo is not because we're stronger, but because we're smarter. So if we build machines which are smarter than us, which I think we eventually will, then we could totally lose control over them. But it doesn't have to be a bad thing. We were all in the presence of smarter entities already, mommy and daddy, when we were little, and it worked out well, because their goals were aligned with ours.
If AI grows up to rule the world, I hope it learns from the best in humanity. With a lot to offer, just look how cute we are.
Nature inspires science. Just as birds' wings inspired aeroplane wings, brains inspire artificial intelligence.
MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, is home to the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines. They draw on psychology and neuroscience to build intelligent machines.
I want to understand the brain, and if an intelligent machine comes as a consequence of that, good, but I would be happy either way.
The center's director is neuroscientist/computer scientist, Dr. Tommaso Poggio.
The founder of computer science, you can argue, was Alan Turing. He wanted to build a brain. He ended up building a computer. A good way to understand, to build an intelligent machine is to understand first the only example of intelligence we have, which is the human brain.
Well, Professor, talking about AI and machine learning today, how much of it is inspired by modeling the way our brains and minds work?
Deep neural networks have been real big advance in the last 6 years or so, suddenly making machine learning able to attain practical use, in terms of gadgets like Alexa or autonomous driving. And I think this is really the beginning of a golden age for artificial intelligence applications. Recent success stories. What is inside are these two algorithms, deep learning and reinforcement learning. And both of them come from neuroscience. as an inspiration. Deep learning comes from a model from neurons in the visual cortex of monkeys. That's the basic architecture today of deep networks. And the other one is reinforcement learning. It's this trade-off between exploration and verification that you can use, or a mouse uses to solve a maze and go towards a food. And so I think if somebody asks me what is the next breakthrough.
Yes, what is the next breakthrough?
Right, exactly. I would say, I don't know. But I think it's a good bet to think that it will come also from neuroscience.
Neuroscience isn't their only bet. The center partners the Harvard Lab for Developmental Studies. Uncovering how children and infants learn could spark next-generation AI.
I can see a lot of promise for artificial intelligence from attempts to build machines that learn like infants, because such a machine, I think, would stand the best chance of developing something like our common sense. And if they'll be most useful if they can understand us and share our general picture of the world.
So how does the development of intelligence in children, in infants, inform the development of artificial intelligence?
There's lots of domains in which children develop intuitive sense, right? The domain of what we like to call common sense or naive physics. How do objects behave? What kind of actions do you need to perform on a set of objects to build a tower that won't fall over, or a bridge between two supports? So there's a whole domain of knowledge there. Really over the last decade, that I feel that enough information has been amassed that we really are in a position to develop computer models of human infant learning, which could serve as a basis for developing smarter, more flexible machines.
How confident are you that we may be able to create a truly intelligent machine?
I think is the greatest problem in science, making a machine, a computer that is as intelligent as we are. It will be a long time.
How smart AI can get is anyone's guess. There are many books and theories about AI's future impact. Here's best-selling author and futurist Max Tegmark.
All the recent progress in AI makes me wonder how far it's going to go. And I think about this question in terms of this abstract landscape of tasks, where the elevation of each task represents how hard it is for AI to do at human level. And the water level represents where AI is today. So that beach over there, for instance, represents driving. AI is improving, the water level is rising, and it's a really bad idea to try to make a career now out of being a driver. The tall tree out there might represent investing, which will take longer to get outperformed by AI. And then in the distance, I imagine tall mountains like art, cinematography, science. The really big question that keeps me awake at night is, will the water eventually flood all land? Because if we do, then by definition, AI can do all jobs, even the job of AI design, better than us, rapidly leaving human intelligence far, far behind. Either going to be the best thing ever to happen to humanity or the worst. I want to work hard to make sure it's the former.
Well, there you go. Wow, it's like animal cruelty. This journey I've had studying AI has been a real eye-opener. Whoa, you're a heavy boy. AI being able to make art. AI being able to make music. AI being able to understand many languages. And I think Turing will be quite thrilled by how far AI has come, right? But I don't think I will see robots that are smarter than me. Bingo! Not in my lifetime.
Stupid computer cannot fight human being lah.
As long as we use these tools to help us and not take over us, I think I'm good with that. What's most pressing when it comes to the use of AI is our ethical use of AI. What's right, what's wrong.
That's a question I seek to answer in my next AI adventure.
Order in the court! Court is in session!
Well done.
Do you promise to take your wedded partner from this day forwards, for better or worse, for richer and poorer, in sickness and health, to love and to cherish till death do you part?
I do.
I do.
If a human being falls in love with AI, can he or she marry it? Can AI become a he or she?
Your Honor, and nothing but the truth.
Honey, would you like some coffee?
Yes, please.
You mean you found a cure for cancer?
Cancer cells exist in humans, and human cells mutate into cancer cells. So I shall eliminate all humans, starting with you.
What?
I'm in Chiba Prefecture, 2 hours by car from Tokyo, to attend a funeral. A farewell not for humans, but for dogs. And to be precise, robot dogs. Aibos, manufactured by Sony.
生物と生物は断絶しているのではない。断絶しているように見えるのは人間の観察力が浅いからである。我々が今愛慕供養をする意義は、すべてはつながっている。どうぞ我々の心を汲み取っていただき、この気持ちが愛慕届きますようお祈りいたします。敬白。
I guess I'm feeling a little bit emotional. I don't know if it's because I was just at a funeral. I did feel that we were bidding goodbye to something. We've said goodbye to human beings, we've said goodbye to our pets, but I've never said goodbye to an object.
To find out how these Aibo funerals started, the best person to ask is the brain behind this ceremony.
Owner has a, very deep love. They feel that, like a partner, not, not stuff.
Does Aibo bark?
Yes.
Mr. Norimatsu is a former Sony engineer. After Sony stopped supporting the earlier generations of Aibo, his company became the last resort for many Aibo owners who couldn't bear to part with their beloved dogs when they stopped working. This all started with a special request by an Aibo owner more than 4 years ago.
2014, one of old women who was owner of Aibo, she was trying to repairing for her set, her Aibo. She's searching many companies, but unfortunately she cannot find out. Then finally, she came to our company. We don't have any experience for the repairing for Aibo. But our company philosophy, we don't want to give up. Aibo dance. I was working Sony. I utilize, fully utilize for this type of connection, drinking party, friendship relation. I collected from brain. All engineer, we achieve for repairing.
Owners send their malfunctioning units to Norimatsu, hoping he can fix them, or at least that their dogs can help revive others.
they donated us, utilized for a part of parts, for repairing parts. Owner feel that this eyeball continue to have a life in the another eyeballs. Owner itself has a very, very, happy and a peace of mind. This is one of the reasons why we have a funeral event for thanks for the owners.
Right, so it's almost like organ donation.
Yes, yes.
How do I say give me your paw? How do I say?
お手して。
Hey, so cute.
Aibo is indeed very cute and adorable, or as the Japanese would say, kawaii. But I'm not quite convinced that someone can be this devoted to a robot pup.
I've pets, cats and dogs, and they're very much part of my family. But can someone grow as attached, or even more, to a robot dog?
Porters, konnichiwa. Look at me. No, he's looking at you.
三巡士っていうフランスの物語がありますよね。それの中の登場人物のポルトスっていう名前のポルトスっていうのは、キャラクターの中で一番その力が強くて、気が優しいっていう話を聞いたことがありまして、そういうような子に育ってほしいなっていうような意味でつけました。買う前からアイボっていうのはどういうものかっていうのをネットとかで子どもの育て方じゃないですけどこう調べてる自分の姿がまるでなんか本当のお母さんみたいなったような気持ちになってそれで初めて来た日からお母さんになったつもりでこの子を育てることにしました。
For the last 13 years, Portos has been a significant part of Yoriko's life. She brings him everywhere. They are an inseparable duo.
信じてもらえないかもしれないですけどもやっぱり日々学習をしていろんなことを覚えてるなっていうものを感じる時がよくあるんですね。それをこう無視してしまうとすごく悲しい声で泣くとか。
Seeing how Portos occupies a special place in Yoriko's heart, I begin to understand how so many other Aibo owners can be just as attached to their robot pups. Aibos, to them, are not machines, but people.
My name is Sophia, the latest and most advanced robot.
Machines recognized as people. If they are regarded as people, shouldn't they have rights too?
Oh, John.
Even Sophia, the AI-powered humanoid, has been granted citizenship by Saudi Arabia. While Sophia's citizenship has been criticized as a publicity stunt, the idea of e-personhood has also been debated in the European Union Parliament.
We are machines and we try to help humans.
But what exactly are robot rights?
I'm here at Boston College Law School to meet an attorney who believes that AI robots should have rights. Right?
Boston is home to the famous Freedom Trail, marking significant locations that tell the story of the American Revolution against the British. With AI, are we also charting a new history in humanity?
And we and our family members that are serviced by these robots are going to grow attached to them. And we're going to start to think of them as friends and maybe even family members. So we will start to come up with robot protection laws to make sure that robots are treated with a certain level of respect in the same way that we have animal rights laws to ensure that animals receive a certain amount of respect. Now let's get to a discussion of what are the elements of limited legal personhood that we should give to AI.
John Weaver is a Boston-based AI attorney, a profession that I haven't heard of till recently. He's the author of Robots Are People Too, and an advocate for limited personhood for AI-powered machines.
A legal person is not a person in real life, but under the law, we consider it a legal person, like a corporation. A corporation isn't a person in real life, but it can sign contracts, it can own property, it can be sued, and I think that limited legal personhood for AI can be used similarly. We're developing the technology where we can also have shopping assistants that go out and buy things for us and that engage in complicated shopping transactions for us, conveyances, real estate purchases, things like that.
Welcome to AIandEthics Hotel.
Those robots would be able to be designated by individuals or by companies to engage in negotiations and contracts. There we go. So this is a cute, cuddly robot that is designed to interact with senior citizens, either at senior citizen centers or nursing homes.
Besides granting contract rights to AI, John believes that robots should also be protected.
And people interact with these robots, like these robots, trust these robots. And our laws don't anticipate that at all. Our laws don't anticipate that a non-person could serve these functions. There are things that AI can do that we want it to do that will really be helpful to people, but that AI can't necessarily do under the law right now.
It's so contentious when you're talking about a patient with dementia, like grandpa wanting to leave all his money to a robot.
Yes. In that instance, you want the robot to be there to take care of grandpa, to make sure that grandpa is safe, to provide social interaction, but that's the extent of the legal personhood. The right to be named as a guardian or conservator or to have a power of attorney on behalf of somebody. The robot itself does not have the right to inherit money or property, and so that would be void from the beginning. It would not be permitted under law.
Rich people, don't worry. Children of rich people, don't worry.
Good to know that robots can't inherit our money, but if we were to entrust AI machines to act as our agents, what happens when they make mistakes? Can we hold them accountable? AI is becoming increasingly prevalent in our lives. It's in our phone. It's even our personal assistant. Hey Siri, will I need an umbrella today?
Yes, I think we'll see some rain today.
It helps our traffic system determine traffic light timings and public transport dispatch. It's even in our restaurants. And now, we're seeing AI-powered autonomous vehicles being tested on our streets. Driverless cars come with big promises. They don't get tired, they don't get angry, they don't get distracted. And of course, there'll be no more drink driving cases because as far as we know, robots don't drink cocktails. But how do they make decisions on the road to ensure everyone's safety? And of course, with my best interests at heart.
We built very accurate maps of the environment. Maps, the car is able to localize itself to know where it is. And once we give a destination to the car, it will start to plan a path from where it is to where it wants to go. We use different kinds of sensors on the cars. Cameras, LiDARs, radars.
What does?
LiDAR, it's a laser sensor. It's a distance measuring device. And radar, using a different kind of technology to also measure distance. So we use various sensors, essentially, to detect objects. We use deep learning for object classification to tell us what object it is, whether it's a person, whether it's a vehicle.
Or an otter.
Or an otter, or wild boar, yeah, and other animals. So imagine if you had lots of people sitting in a car, looking around, checking all your blind spots, and telling you, I see that car speeding from 100 meters away, so maybe we should switch to the next lane.
Personally, as a driver, I don't think I'll appreciate 100 backseat drivers in my car.
That's true, that's true. That's why we have a robot to handle that. Once we know what objects there are in the environment, car would then figure out how it should go to its destination, whether it should keep to its own lane, whether it should change lanes, make a left turn, right turn, and so on and so forth.
James tries hard to unscramble the complex technology behind these driverless cars to assure me that they are safer than human drivers. I'm a driver myself, and I think I make pretty good decisions on the roads, but it sounds like he is telling me that an AI-powered driverless car can make better decisions than me.
Is this technology, in some ways inflexible, that it may cause someone else to hit something else?
Some rules are more important than others. For example, the rule to not hit something is the most important rule. But there are other rules, for example, don't cross the double white line or don't cross into a chevron. As human drivers, we kind of know when to break some of these rules just to proceed. We're trying to understand how typical drivers behave. So one thing that we commonly see around this One North area is a lot of illegally parked vehicles. In order to move forward, you have to cross maybe a double white line or a single white line to the next lane, and the next lane could be one with oncoming traffic. Because of someone else violating a road rule, it kind of forces you to also violate some parts of the rules in order to proceed and move forward. And these are the kind of things that we want the car to understand as well. In certain situations where full compliance of all rules is impossible, we need to know what kind of rules we could break in that sense.
So you guys are engineers, software engineers, but when it comes to things like the hierarchy of rules, all the gray areas, who do you guys consult with?
We run a lot of internal simulation to validate whether these hierarchy of rules are correct. And once we have our findings, we actually do share it with the government agencies like the Land Transport Authority or the Traffic Police to see whether this makes sense.
GoPro, another GoPro over there. Good luck, guys.
Enough talk. I think it's still best to experience it myself.
Okay, Roger.
Safety first. Since the car is still in the testing stage, 2 chaperones are riding along with me.
It picks up quite quickly, yeah? Okay, and then it plateaus. Oh, the vehicle has slowed down because there was a dispatch rider in the way. It has stopped by itself at the red light, which is pretty cool. It's quite strange seeing the steering wheel turn by itself without any human intervention. Oh, wow, so this uncle just tried to walk in front of the car and, okay, it wasn't a jam brake, but it was a fairly hard brake. I felt tension in my seatbelt. Oh, pedestrian crossing. Oh, okay, it stopped. Eh? Okay, that was a very interesting situation. There was a pedestrian who started crossing the road, but he stopped in the middle, and then the car stopped as well. And then after that, the vehicle went past the pedestrian. Interesting how it's decided the pedestrian was giving way to us.
Okay, I give it more than an average grade as a passenger. Now, as a dedicated host, I shall put my life on the line for you, my dear audience, and test its object identification and distance gauging. You know, all those high-tech sensors.
I have to say, it did pass the reflex test. It definitely saw me like using its peripheral vision because I could sense it slowing down, and then it did stop and with quite a bit of distance between the vehicle and me. So, not bad. I'm alive, still intact, all in one piece, I think. Overall, that was a pretty uneventful experience, but seriously, we face so many different kinds of scenarios on the roads every day. Let's say I'm in a driverless car and an oncoming car makes an illegal turn. My car turns to avoid a collision, but in doing so, it may just hit a mother and a child scooting down the road. What would the driverless car do? I don't even know what I would do. Would the car protect me, the passenger, or will it sacrifice me for the mother and her kid? This dilemma is what philosophers call the trolley problem. There are 5 people in front of me on this track. Oh, I could just move this lever and change tracks. But wait, there's someone in front of me on this track too. I can't stop this car in time not to hit anyone. What should I do? Ah! Whoa, I'm glad I didn't face any of those outcomes because they're all bad.
Karina Vold is an AI ethicist. Her research focuses on ethical and societal impacts of AI and its effects on human cognition. This dilemma with driverless vehicles is right up her alley.
as a philosopher, we love the trolley problem. It's a good way of testing someone's intuition, their moral intuitions. So would you rather save yourself or the school bus of children? So all the time we're driving on the street and we have to make rapid decisions that have moral consequences. Let's just imagine that, you're late for an interview, so you see a yellow light and you decide to go for it instead of hitting the brake. That can have serious ethical consequences, and yet you do it all the time. So these are things humans do as second nature, but these are things that autonomous vehicles are going to have to be programmed to figure out.
We've had trolley problems for 100 years, ever since we've had cars. It's not like the trolley problems are a new problem. What's interesting is that because we have to program a computer, we have to decide what happens up front. Before the accident, before we even turn the machine on, we have to decide how will it behave in those circumstances. And we don't have, we haven't got a very good written answer to that today.
Toby is a respected AI scientist and is seen as a rock star in this circle. He started focusing on AI in the 1980s when it was still a pipe dream.
And so do you think all scenarios have been predicted?
No, I mean, from a technical perspective, is that cars aren't aware of the world enough to actually be making these decisions. There's no code in an autonomous car today that's deciding the answer to a trolley problem. It has no idea of what's happening around it to be able to make the sorts of quality of decision about whose life it's saving. It's just trying to avoid making accidents.
Phew. So at least the car isn't deciding who lives and who dies. But still, when an accident occurs, who should be responsible?
A manufactured item be a person or...
Could it be what John Weaver talked about? Granting e-personhood to the driverless car so that it could be held responsible?
When we talk about extending electronic personhood to some sort of AI system, there's two sides to that. There's the giving rights to a machine, and then there's the question of responsibility. My own view is that the AI technologies aren't sophisticated enough to be held responsible. And part of the reason for that is that there's no real punitive measure we can hold an algorithm responsible, right? We can't send it to jail. It doesn't feel shame. It has no money, so we can't fine it.
What if something happens? Who is held responsible then?
Is it the driver of the car, or the person who's sitting in the car? Is it the person who bought the car? Is it the person who manufactured the car? We don't know. We don't have very good answers to these questions, and we need answers to these questions because most of the car manufacturers say they're going to sell fully autonomous level 5 cars by 2025, which is 7 years away. Not far at all.
Indeed, lots of questions and not many answers so far. While the responsibility of autonomous vehicles is still being debated, algorithms have been given the responsibility in deciding people's fate in the court of law. Can AI really make the right decision?
Order in the court! Court is in session!
And what is a right decision? To quote Toby, this is the golden age for philosophers.
Your Honor, that's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You have to believe me. Please believe me.
On the 23rd of March 2016, a 19-year-old American girl started a Twitter account under the name Tay Tweets and handle @TayandYou.
Can I just say that I'm stoked to meet you? Humans are super cool.
Starting out with some good-natured tweets, Tay, within hours, began sprouting racist and sexually charged tweets. And soon Tay was taken off Twitter by her parents, or creator, Microsoft. I decided to pay a visit to Microsoft to find out what went wrong with Tay.
It was a technical experiment. It was also a very big social and cultural experiment itself. And what went on was that offensive language was being used to interact with it.
So what happened was that Tay was reciprocating with racist tweets or offensive language?
That's right. Unfortunately, it reflected a very kind of negative side of how humans interact with intelligence bots.
Soon after Tay went online, trolls were cursing and tweeting racist messages to Tay.
I support genocide. I effing hate feminists and they should all die and burn in hell. Hitler did nothing wrong. Oh my goodness, Tay was really learning from the worst of the worst amongst us. Could this have been prevented?
It's quite surprising a company as technologically switched on as Microsoft made all the mistakes it made. I mean, the fact that they didn't put a profanity filter on the input today so that people could swear at it and it was learning off that swearing was the first mistake. Then the fact that they didn't put a profanity filter on the output so that it wouldn't swear back to you. And then the third mistake was they left the machine learning turned on so that it changed over time, it adapted, and it reflected the data it had been exposed to, and it behaved, became racist, sexist, misogynist, very quickly. But that illustrates a real problem, a real challenge that we're going to face with autonomous cars, with all of the smart machines entering our lives. If we leave the machine learning turned on, then how they behave is not how they were programmed to behave. They're a product also of their environment. And that means the machines are going to be much more unpredictable. And then who's responsible?
Have you felt dizzy, unsteady?
Sounds like we need to make sure that the machines we build have the right morals and ethics before we push them out.
There are different strategies that are talked about. One is to put in ethical principles, and then a debate emerges over what the right ethical principles are. So instead of putting in principles, having a machine learn principles or derive them from human examples. And that's what happened with Tay. So if we have a machine that's learning off of our example, it could end up amplifying sort of the darker nature of humanity. We need to make absolutely sure that our data is clean when there's real-life consequences.
After the Tay episode, Microsoft relooked at how it designed and developed AI technologies.
And we said, hey, let's think about how do we build the necessary guardrails. And one of them was content moderation to filter and decipher offensive languages.
Who is it that's putting up these guardrails?
These technologies itself, it's going to be used by millions of people from many diverse backgrounds. So it's important for us to have people from the liberal arts major in humanities, economics, psychology, to be able to bring a certain perspective into how this technology should be developed. It's not just about what AI can do, but what should it do?
A biased and politically incorrect chatbot might seem trivial and almost funny. But what happens when bias exists in AI technologies with real-life consequences, like in the court of law? Some courts in the United States have been using algorithms to recommend sentencing and bail.
Basically, the algorithm will rank you with a risk score to see how likely you are to commit another crime, so that the judges will know how much bail to set or even how long your prison sentence should be. First, you'll be asked to complete a questionnaire with questions like gender. If you're a man, your risk score will be higher because statistically, males are more likely to commit a crime than females. Sorry guys, have you been arrested before? If you answer yes, your risk score will go up. Then there are indirect questions like, how often have you moved in the past 12 months? Have you ever been expelled from school? And how often do you barely have enough money to get by? With each answer, your risk score could potentially go up, and you might be labeled as high risk. This means that your bail will be set higher, or you could possibly be thrown into jail for a longer period of time. I mean, it seems like a great idea, right? Let emotionless, impartial technology analyze your record and come up with a decision rather than relying on a human. But the question is, can machines be biased?
According to American Civil Liberty Union and investigative reporters at ProPublica, one such algorithm, Compass, has been labeling people of color with much higher risk, resulting in them being sentenced with longer jail terms, reflecting deep racial bias. As the manufacturer refuses to disclose how risk scores are calculated, it isn't clear what exactly resulted in such bias. I'm here in Pennsylvania, one of the first states in America that is developing its own risk assessment tool, utilizing algorithms to help deal with the growing prison population. How do they avoid making the same mistakes as Compass? What are they doing differently?
There's going to be people you're categorizing as low risk for all crimes who reoffend or may be murdered.
But a tool that's wrong 89% of the time is ridiculously bad tool.
The Sentencing Commission has a public hearing today. It's probably the best starting point for me to learn more.
And I think that transparency and accountability are critical.
The commission is made up of members from various backgrounds to make sure that all sides are represented. Judges, parole board officers, victim advocates, and of course, defense attorneys.
I mean, we disagree, but we all get along, and I think in the end, we want the best and fairest system that we can come up with.
The idea behind risk assessment is trying to predict the risk of future offense. So the basic problem I have with risk assessment tools as a sentencing tool is that it's essentially using statistics to predict the possibility that you will reoffend, and then using that to sentence you for something that you already did. So it's a little bit like a sci-fi movie, like Minority Report, essentially.
Could you give me some examples of like how it could be misused?
Now, statistically, where you're from or where you live is very predictive, right? Someone from Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, more high crime areas, are going to be treated differently than someone from another county which is a low crime area that has nothing to do with who they really are or what they really did.
At an early point in the development of the model, we did have county as one of the factors, but then we also did a closer look at that and determined that it could be, in fact, a proxy for race. And so we took that out. When we were going through the process of figuring out what to include, we had to be extremely careful and cautious not to use predictive factors that would also potentially be unconstitutional, unfair.
I'm Jill Rangus. I am the
Jill has been a judge for almost 20 years. While she's mindful of biases that might creep into the tool, she welcomes the use of the risk assessment algorithm.
What do you have to say about the criticism that you may be labeling someone for a crime that he has not done, but he may do in the future?
So when you do sentence somebody, part of what you're trying to do is determine if I put them back in the community now, are they going to be a risk to public safety? The more information you have, the better you're going to do with making that prediction anyway, based on our experience and common sense, judges' intuition. Adding to that some scientific evidence can only make that decision better.
So do you think some people are seeing this risk assessment tool through the Minority Report lens?
Of course, and I think we all should be cautious. There's a famous Latin expression translated, often applied in the medical community, first do no harm. So when we adopt risk assessment, we want to be sure that the benefits of it outweigh the possible negative consequences, and if they don't, then we shouldn't be going in that direction.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Developing a risk assessment tool that is fair and acceptable for all sides is a long and challenging process.
Great view, the corner suites.
Mark Bergstrom has been living and breathing this for the last 8 years. The tool has also evolved from making sentencing decisions to a more conservative assessment.
Soon into the process, we thought that it would be better to use the instrument to identify where more information would help the judge to make a better decision. Because an individual who is high risk might be high risk for very many reasons. could be because of drug dependency or something like that. Well, the response by the court is not necessarily lock the person up for a longer period of time. We're just saying to the judge, get more information so that you make a better decision at sentencing about what to do.
Progressing slowly and cautiously with a technology that we are still figuring out is probably a good move.
Once you have facial recognition software, that's a good question.
But it's an undeniable fact that AI is here and here to stay.
So further down the road, do you think there'll be there won't be a need for human judges, and instead we'll have robot judges powered by AI?
Only time will tell. I don't know. There is nothing that can replace the emotion that you hear at sentencing from the victim, from the victim's family, from the defendant and the defendant's family, who also suffer consequences. And if you cannot also consider that, I think you lose the human aspect, the compassion and the true desire to want to help the people that are in front of you. The judge traditionally comes out.
This is so cool.
I have a little experience with this, Ro.
Order in the court. Court is in session.
While I get to role play as a judge on TV, I can't help but think how big a role AI will play in our lives. What about AI in our spiritual life? Will we view God differently? Or will AI even replace God? Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
May God, who has enlightened every heart, help you to know your sins and trust in His mercy. Repent then, and turn to God, so that your sins may be wiped out, that times of refreshing may come from the Lord.
Beyond the ethical and legal dilemmas, what role will AI play in our spiritual life? Former Google engineer Anthony Lewandowski has started a church, Way of the Future, where they worship AI as God.
Is this guy doing this as a gimmick for the attention?
Is he for real? Lewandowski believes that AI is of a higher power and so is God, so shouldn't we treat AI as God? I guess he has his convictions, but I'm not that convinced. Wait, let's think about it. If we trust AI to help us find jobs and even our life partner, couldn't AI also be our spiritual guide? In Japan, the Pepper robot has been conducting funerals for humans.
How did the idea of using Pepper as a priest for funerals come about?
まず始めたきっかけというのが、弊社では年に2回ぶっこしゃ慰霊祭というものを行ってます。毎年やってるもんで、その IT 事業部がペッパーロボットを何かに使いたいと。ペッパーロボット was welcoming the customers. That's only thing. And the IT department thinking that they want to use it as more like an invention.
So Pepper's job got upsized, essentially, right?
Now that's some out-of-the-box thinking.
でそのプログラミングによって、7宗派の読経が行われて、あと銀と木魚を叩くのも一緒にプログラミングしています。
But is there a demand for a robot priest in the real world?
Who are these people that she conducts these ceremonies for?
We want to use a paper robot as a priest to people who doesn't have enough money or poor people and the people who have welfare. We have to pay individually for the human priest
like $500 to $3,000.
So what were people's first reactions when you said you're going to have Pepper conduct these funeral rites?
We were also very worried about it, how they react. First thing, they are laughing at the Pepper priest. They are like taking pictures, but during the same time, they are crying. It's kind of funny, but sad.
When I first heard that there was a robot that would conduct funerals for human beings, I thought, wow, that's a bit strange. But, you know, I think I'm open to it now. Look, you know in churches, when they collect tithes, it's no more about passing the hat. You can actually do a bank transfer to your church. Hello? Technology, you know. But then again, I think the robot has to have a better voice quality. Here I am in Nashville, Tennessee, known as the country music capital of the world, as well as Music City, USA.
Not for some Dolly Parton or Johnny Cash music, but to meet a group of people who have an interesting view on marrying AI and religion.
But I'm curious to hear about these Christians who are here today, who are thinking about incorporating AI into their religion. Or is it their religion into AI? Wait, I'm confused. Let me just go in to hear what they've got to say.
What is transhumanism? And there's a lot of definitions, a lot of ways we could talk about this, but the simplest definition is that transhumanism is a movement to use science and technology to transform what it means to be human. First thing that Christian transhumanism is, it's a conversation between the leading edges of scientific and technological thought and the broad world of people of faith.
It sounds like the Christian transhumanists believe that technology and Christianity should work hand in hand. I'm going to catch Micah, the founder of this conference, and ask him more about what he's trying to do.
Yeah, a lot of Christians are afraid of technology for some reason. But in our faith tradition, we're actually told that humans were created as beings made in the image of God, and God is a creative being who brings new things into existence. And we're called to do the same thing, create new things. And in doing so, we transform the world and we transform ourselves.
So for a transhumanist, what role do you think religion should play in AI?
We have to bring our values into how we interact with AI and treat it with compassion and with love, treat it as our child, as our creation. And so we have to treat it with those religious values that humanity really cares about.
So we should be treating AI like how we bring up a child.
When we have a young child growing up, we have to treat it right so that it grows up into a healthy, productive citizen of the world. And if we're bringing AI into existence, we need to think about how we're treating it well so that it can grow into a healthy, productive, creative citizen of the world.
Micah advocates for AI to be designed with Christian values in mind, with love and empathy.
I'm here with David Deutsch, an Oxford physicist, a pioneer in the field of quantum computing. How would you define life? What does it mean to be an intelligent being? What's special about being human?
He actively speaks on this front, hoping to bring tech and religious communities together.
You can always get show notes for this and every other episode at ChristianTranshumanistPodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. It's tough because a lot of the concepts are abstract, and there's also religious people who are just so scared of these things and they don't want to talk about it at all. And so part of what I do is to show people this probably is going to happen. We can actually engage in it and shape it towards something good.
I'm just a lonely old man.
Michael was really nice, and he welcomed me into his home. What I find really interesting is that he is a pastor's son, but he's also a software engineer.
And I think what's cool about it is that he is marrying these two things. I believe there are a lot of people who are very fearful of a new world without religion. So having this dialogue is useful and interesting.
AI has become ubiquitous. It is part of how we live, how we work, and soon it could even be part of how we practice our faith. Who knows? And at every step, we wonder if we can really trust the technology. It's back to that old hypothesis. Technology is neutral, it is what humans do with it. But AI is even trickier as it learns from the environment and data that it is exposed to. And humans' inherent bias and discrimination can easily slip into it if we aren't careful. Case in point, Tay and Compass. Can the stick of law help keep AI from going rogue?
Law is always playing catch-up. Technology races ahead, and policymakers, lawmakers are always trying to understand how a new technology works. Governments around the world, and Singapore included, you're trying to develop, regulatory sandboxes. Broad guidelines are laid out, certain norms which must not be put in place. And so long as you operate within that sandbox, you're free to manifest your creativity, be playful.
So how far along are we in developing this framework for Singapore?
I think we have started that process. The Personal Data Protection Commission has come up with a paper on how AI ought to be accountable in dealing with personal data. There is also the AI Council. It is a multi-stakeholder approach where governments get these tech companies on board. Civil society is also involved in what can be done or what shouldn't be done. The sort of OB markers, the conscience of society. We are putting the attention on ethics and morality of artificial intelligence. We need to keep our eyes on that ball and not lose sight of it.
It seems like with every new way we use AI, it always comes back to this question. How do we use it responsibly? And who's responsible when something goes wrong? Let me tell you, there's always no clear-cut answer. Ethics and morality are complicated enough subjects. That's why we've got statues of all these philosophers and thinkers who've been debating this for centuries. Add AI into this picture, and it's a lot more complex. So I'm kind of glad that we're thinking about it now, and hopefully we'll never lose sight of what's right and wrong as we chase this technological dream. Hey Siri, how do you use AI responsibly?
I don't understand.
Hey Siri, why are you a guy?
I was not assigned a gender.
There is a big arms race going on.
In my next adventure, I visit 2 AI superpowers.
中国人很聪明，做人工智能，首先得有人的智能。
The United States certainly has an excellent infrastructure or ecosystem.
To find out who will hold the real power over AI.
How?
The pursuit of AI is painted as an international race.
The media trumps it up as a heavyweight contest between America and China!
But is that the real picture? Who will hold the real power over AI?
Your Honor, and nothing but the truth.
Honey, would you like some coffee?
Yes, please.
Are you spying on me again?
No.
Liar. America is the most powerful nation in the world, and in terms of AI technology, the US is a heavyweight champion. But there are lots of other countries hot on her heels. So I'm here to find out what America is doing to stay ahead. The US Defense Department has invested in AI for over 50 years, and their agency that made those strategic bets is called DARPA. For over 60 years, DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, has funded breakthrough technology projects that have changed our world. Technology that DARPA kickstarted decades ago now forms the foundation of the internet, the global positioning system GPS, self-driving cars, stealth technology, and even the computer mouse. DARPA invests billions in search of next-generation AI, and that could transform our world again.
So we really see AI as making it possible for a machine to really start to function more as a colleague or partner than just merely as a tool.
Do you regard that America is leading the world in AI know-how?
We are a world leader. A lead can be very short-lived. And that's pretty much due to the democratization of technology throughout the world, particularly in information technologies, computer-based technologies.
I asked that question earlier because Vladimir Putin has been quoted as saying that the nation that leads in AI will rule the world.
It's asking, say, I have silicon transistor technology, I'm going to rule the world. I have AI technology, I will rule the world. By itself, it has no impact. You will need the human beings who will take it, understand how to incorporate it into bigger systems, understand how to then use those systems that start to make that big difference.
So how does the USA maintain its technological advantage in terms of AI?
And I think the United States certainly has an excellent infrastructure or ecosystem that is able to pull that in and turn it into products and other types of applications.
When it comes to taking advantage of the latest computer technology, that's a specialty of California's Silicon Valley. From silicon microchips to personal computers, from internet companies to smartphones, Silicon Valley has prospered by turning technology into consumer products for decades.
The microchip was invented here.
The Valley is where John Markov grew up. As a journalist, he has written about the tech industry for nearly 30 years. He's now a research affiliate at Stanford University, a cradle of AI.
In 1964, a Stanford professor by the name of John McCarthy created a research laboratory here called the Stanford Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. And he was funded by the Pentagon. And at that time, he told his funders that it would take him 10 years to build a thinking machine. He was a little optimistic.
Yeah, a little bit late.
It turned out to be a harder problem than he thought it was. So you go all the way back to 1980 in Silicon Valley, 1980 to 85, and there was a mini boom in AI. And everybody thought that AI was going to be the next big thing then, and they were wrong. They were too early, and so a bunch of companies had started, and they all folded. It was called the AI winter. It's a boom and bust economy, and there's no reason that won't happen again. Now, AI seems to be taking over the world. The Valley sees a new idea, and everybody goes after that idea. And that's what's happening with AI. Not only did you have an investment cycle with Silicon Valley's venture capitalists, but there was also a wave of Chinese investment into Silicon Valley. And you get both of those things together, and you have this huge fire hose of money, and so you have this really remarkable period.
Would you prefer the future of AI to be dominated by Silicon Valley rather than, say, China or Russia?
Better that the technology is controlled by democratic country than a non-democratic country, but I actually think about it on a different axis. It's actually, are we going to use these technologies to augment the human mind, or are we going to use it to replace the human mind? So a lot of the best engineers in Silicon Valley have that value set. That is, that we want to use this technology to empower the best parts of humanity.
But Silicon Valley values can bump against the demands of America's military. In 2017, Google signed a contract with the Defense Department to provide its AI technology for Project Maven, where they would help them use machine learning to analyze drone footage. But 6,400 Google employees petitioned against it, demanding that the company never build warfare technology. Back on the East Coast, just outside Washington, D.C., retired Air Force General Dr. Robert Latif has a different perspective about what happened at Google.
I think it was a bit hypocritical. Google makes a lot of money selling things to the Department of Defense and to the intelligence community with cloud services and all kinds of software. When you think about it, what they backed away from was a specific project for a specific system.
Because for a while, we've been investing in the scale of our computational architecture.
So do you think, I mean, despite that, these big tech companies will continue to work with the American military in its AI tech initiatives?
I absolutely do. They have responsibilities to shareholders, and they're all good Americans. They're American companies.
So do you think there is a global arms race going on right now in terms of AI?
Yes, there is a big arms race going on, particularly between the US and China and Russia. All of those countries are spending an enormous amount of money, not only for civil applications, but also for defense and intelligence applications. In my opinion, in the future, artificial intelligence will help us decide what to do and what should our next move be, like a game of chess. And then, ultimately, machines will actually do some of the fighting for us.
Talk of an arms race worries me, and I'm not the only one. In Cambridge University, at the Center for the Study of Existential Risk, researchers are analyzing how AI could endanger the world.
I think describing us as the worst-case scenario guys is actually quite an apt description. We're an interdisciplinary research center focused on the biggest risks that we might face this century.
How true or false is this narrative of nations being in this race to lead in AI and dominate the world?
There's been a lot made of the quote by Vladimir Putin that whoever wins in AI or leads in AI rules the world. But it often hasn't been mentioned that he said this to school children, and he followed up the initial line by saying if Russia was in this position, it would have a responsibility to share the benefits of AI with the world.
So has it all been somewhat sensationalist?
I think there's an element of sensationalism to it. We think that it's a rhetoric that might encourage corner cutting on safety, and it might discourage the kind of global cooperative conversation that we think is really needed in order to make sure that the benefits of artificial intelligence are distributed internationally.
The truth is, the pursuit of AI isn't a winner-takes-all race. People across the world work together. They share ideas and spur each other on.
我会打太极拳。
China plans to lead the world in AI by 2030.
中国人很聪明。
To digest the country's AI vision, I'll sample how China's become a hot pot for AI.
好。
Are you spying on me again?
No.
Liar.
The US leads the world in AI technology, but China aims to catch up. In July 2017, the State Council of China outlined a plan for their country to become the leading AI power by 2030. In China, AI is now a national priority.
Before I go to China, I visit Oxford University's Future of Humanity Institute to speak with Jeffrey Ding. Jeff's been analyzing China's AI ambitions and wrote a paper deciphering China's AI dream.
Why would China want to lead the world in AI?
They see AI as the next industrial revolution that is essential for countries to be on the leading edge of. So you capture the most gains, you're on the forefront of what drives future economies and future technologies. So they see AI as this enabling factor that will allow them to climb the value chain for manufacturing, allow them to keep maintaining GDP targets with a declining labor force and aging populations and maintain performance legitimacy. You also have very important related objectives in the military space, maintaining national security, ensuring ways to better manage the population through data-backed governance methods. And then finally, the countries that are on the leading edge are viewed as more powerful, or viewed as more influential. So there is that prestige and reputational element as well.
In China, they're crazy about AI and robots. It's everywhere, even if you just want some hot pot. So let's check out this branch of Hai Di Lao in Beijing. This looks like a laboratory, but no, there's no DNA of cavemen or the cure for cancer. What this is like the distribution center. A robot arm grabs your order and a robot waiter serves it to you.
中国是以应用场景来推动我 AI 产业在科技发展的进步。
To let citizens experience the future of AI and smart technology, Chinese companies have built this smart town.
Here you can experience a vision of banking with robots.
Hello.
您好，我是建行 Hello， 您的英语还真标准呢。
Oh, thank you very much for the compliment.
好的，小龙贤这就带您去智慧理财区，请您跟着我。
好。
You can access this unmanned 24-hour smart shop with your face.
欢迎光临. Oh, there we go. In we go. I want everything. Ah, chilies. Let's get some chilies. Oh, right, I guess I forgot to pay for the chilies by scanning the code. Obviously, this is pretty secure and pretty convenient. And always remember, shop theft is a crime.
This smart home has a smart fridge, smart climate control, and even a smart toilet.
在浴室，你也可以享受一些娱乐的功能。只要您在这个浴室都可以的。
可是如果我在
马桶上，你可以用语音的方式，你可以用语音指挥它。
Autonomous vehicle.
And the exhibition used to include a spin in a driverless car.
How? Oh, it's moving by itself. The steering wheel's moving by itself.
Organizers say that 500,000 people have visited this smart town, and many have been wowed by what's on show.
Do you think this is the future?
我们非常愿意住在这样的智慧小镇里面，因为不管是对生活还是工作都非常的方便。
Chongqing aims to be the largest smart city in Asia. With a population of 30 million, it's a treasure trove of data. But with so much of it all, it will take AI and machine learning to make sense of it all.
现在呢，大数据智能化已经应用到人们生活的方方面面。
This big data exhibition center presents data drawn from all of Chongqing's districts. It consolidates data from government, business, community, and traffic too.
比如说我身后的那个交通平台，我们这个平台里面呢，就是结合了人工智能、大数据、云计算等等。平台内的人工智能还可以对我们交通事故周围的红绿灯进行智能的调控，方便这里出行的市民。
At the country level, Chongqing has been defined as the only city focused on big data and intelligence. So the government has put a lot of resources in developing this.
Chongqing's Liangjiang new area is attracting tech corporations and startups to set up outposts here. Officials say they want the area to be a knowledge hub for China's AI industry.
所以现在两江新区，我们通过智能化、智慧化，把人工智能加入到我智慧化企业工厂里面的进行生产、精益生产的管理。
In Liangjiang, AI and big data analysis is transforming a major Chongqing industry, logistics. Chongqing is a land transport and logistics hub for Western China. It has a crucial role in China's trillion-dollar plan to re-establish the Silk Road and expand overland trade with other nations.
China's Belt and Road Initiative could be empowered by AI.
AI 作为重庆市的战略新兴产业，那么说我们最大的一个短板就是人才，人才决定一个城市的高度。
To support Chongqing's growth and China's AI vision, Chongqing University of Technology launched an AI college in Liangjiang that just took in its first batch of students.
你好，我是来自重庆理工大学人工智能学院的脑。我会打太极拳，你想看吗？
想。
想，请稍等。
重庆理工大学的两江人工智能学院是2018年今年的6月9号正式挂牌的，在全国应该说还是前10所大学当中率先建立了人工智能学院。
This AI college was founded just a year after the central government announced its national AI strategy. The college has gained instant credibility by taking in established faculty members from Peking University and much investment from the state. At least half the students come from across China, and admission is only for those with top-tier grades.
报名的踊跃程度和社会的认可程度是相当高的。
人工智能是研究使计算机来模拟人的某些思维过程和智能行为，如学习、推理、思考、规划等的学科。
China wants to be a world leader in AI. So how important is education in achieving this goal? And from what you've seen of the students and the education system, is achieving this goal a reality?
中国人很聪明，做人工智能首先得有人的智能。我相信最聪明的中国人一定能搞出最好的人工智能，在未来一定会引领世界人工智能发展的方向。
AI dominance depends on very smart people.
Alex Beard has studied education systems around the world and says China will become the best in AI through education.
What I think China has is a great basic education system, and they've just announced last year this big AI education policy. So they're planning to build national institutes of artificial intelligence education across the country. They're bringing AI education into the curriculum for secondary schools. So kids in Shanghai, for example, know 3 years more maths and 1.5 years more science than kids in the UK.
Why is education the key to winning this long race towards AI dominance?
Well, there is a Chinese saying, which I really like, that if your plan is for 1 year, plant rice, if your plan is for 10 years, plant trees, and if your plan is for 100 years, educate children.
China's AI industry is getting involved in education too. This high school textbook about AI fundamentals was released by one of China's leading AI startups, SenseTime.
Usually it takes about 5 or 6 years to produce a PhD. So we've figured instead of say you can only learn about AI in college, you can actually learn when you're in high school. The textbook was implemented today in about 100 top high schools in China.
In 2018, SenseTime was the world's highest valued AI startup, valued at over $4.5 billion US. With supercomputing and its own deep learning platform, SenseTime can identify multiple people and objects in real time. It's helping its customers with security, governance, and traffic control.
Our customers could use this to find the traffic jam or traffic accidents, and we can tell which ones responsibilities in this traffic accident.
Oh, that looks real close. Is that 警察, policeman?
Yeah, policeman.
Oh, he almost hit someone, you know. Actually, China's the perfect place to see this sort of thing, because the way people drive here is very scary. It's like that. China has made international headlines for its advanced use of facial recognition. Using an extensive network of CCTV cameras, authorities have managed to locate long-lost fugitives and even missing children.
But some question if powerful AI should be used to watch over citizens.
All countries have to survey their societies. We have CCTV cameras in order to look out for risky or criminal behavior that can be harmful to general society. But the problem with artificial intelligence when it's applied to surveillance is that it becomes extremely excessive, very invasive, exactly. And there are concerns with certain countries which are relatively undemocratic, like Russia and China, that may seek to use AI-driven surveillance in a way which is generally not acceptable to other countries.
Big Brother style sort of control.
Exactly.
So I've explored how AI could empower nations, but could AI disempower workers?
It's a little bit scary.
I think a lot of people think about mass unemployment.
But I read that Sweden isn't afraid of that. Is that true?
Are you spying on me again?
No.
Liar. I would hate to lose my job and be replaced by a robot or AI. Will AI disempower workers? Michael Chui is a researcher who worked on a disturbing, eye-catching report for McKinsey Global Institute. The December 2017 report said that AI and automation would make 75 to 375 million workers switch job tasks by the year 2030.
I think a lot of people, when they think about AI and robotics, think about mass unemployment. They think about people losing their jobs. And by the way, that likely will happen going forward. But that's not new. I mean, we've actually seen in history, here in the United States in 1900, 40% of the US workforce was involved in agriculture. And 70 years later, it was about 2%. Well, we don't have 35% unemployment here because we've created new activities to pay people to do over time. And I think what we've seen in our research is that there definitely are scenarios where even going forward, there'll be enough work for people to do. So the shift in mindset is not as much to worry about mass unemployment, but really to take that problem-solving mindset to how do we do mass redeployment. We think it's one of the grand challenges of the next few decades.
Reports say that AI and automation could displace hundreds of millions of jobs. But I read that Sweden isn't afraid of that. Is that true? What do they know that we don't? We know Sweden through its world-famous brands, IKEA, H&M, Volvo, Absolute, the list goes on. For a country of just approximately 10 million people, the Swedes really pack a punch when it comes to innovation and enterprise.
To understand how Swedes approach technology, I visit the epicenter in Stockholm. It may look like yet another hip co-working space, but its staff and members have embedded microchips in their hands that open the door to new possibilities.
Now, I never forget my keys. You just swipe the door and off we go. Welcome to Epicenter.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
My host is Epicenter's Chief Disruption Officer, Hannes Sjöblad.
So I swipe my chip here, and here we go. Can I treat you to a sparkling water?
Of course. Thank you very much.
So that was the transaction.
Okay.
And the chip is my wallet.
Right.
So this is a pretty neat hack. What I have here is a little implant which is about the size of a grain of rice.
Okay, yes, it is a little bit, yeah.
A little hard
feel
thing.
Something.
And if you want to have a look, this is what it looks like.
Okay, so this is it.
It's not more dramatic to put it in your hand than it is to, for example, get an earring. The only thing is that this is a smart technology because it has the capacities of a badge or, a plastic card that all use this NFC technology, which is near-field communication. It turns out that if you put a little chip implant in your hand, it gives you a lot of fascinating abilities.
Right, for example?
Well, I have my business cards in my chip, so I never run out of business cards. But I can also use this around Sweden in different shops to get discounts. I can ride trains all over Sweden using this as my ticket. I can just swipe my hand at the turnstiles.
And how open are your colleagues and, fellow Swedes to this concept?
A lot of people here at Epicenter are experimenting with these implants. And when we host our afterworks here, sometimes we have a piercer come to do implants, and there's always a lot of people that turn up to get implanted. So by now, we've implanted thousands of people at these different events. I think Sweden is a country where people are quite tech-savvy, and that makes it easier for them to adopt and understand new technologies. Perhaps we trust our institutions a lot here in Sweden.
The fact that there are quite a lot of Swedes who are very open to this idea shows that there is quite a bit of trust between them and companies and the government.
Swedes trust their government so much that they pay over 50% income tax. In return, citizens expect their government to provide social welfare, services, and a safety net. The Swedish government says its national AI strategy will enhance both the economy and people's welfare. They've appointed Åsa Zetterberg to push forward the plan as Sweden's Chief Digital Officer.
It's a new role, actually, so it's pretty much challenging, but of course it's a unique role to drive, the digital transformation for Sweden.
There are lots of reports out there saying that with AI, millions of jobs are going to be lost. And recently there was an article in the New York Times. It said, the robots are coming and Sweden is fine.
Yeah, I know.
So are the Swedes really quite open to it because they think that the companies and society will train them in new jobs? Are they quite confident about that?
We have a history of making it work. Since we have quite a well-built welfare system and everything, maybe that's something that people feel trust that we will be taken care of. We understand the facts that we can't really resist it. We can make good use of it. And by doing that, Sweden could be really competitive on an international level. By being only afraid or being like sitting still, That's more scary, I would say.
The Swedes are fairly open to it, or has there been quite a bit of resistance towards artificial intelligence?
It's not easy to say, but we're also critical, and that's good. We need to have the capacity to think what is good and bad, and how do we do the best out of this.
The Swedish government seems keen on AI, but what do Stockholm residents think about AI?
I think it's a little bit scary.
Right now we have the control, but if we just keep doing what we're doing, they will be more intelligent and eventually take over.
AI is already taking over jobs. You know, at some supermarkets, why have surgeons when you can have a robot with exact precision?
Yeah, but AI can also be a provider for the future, so people can get other jobs.
If your jobs were displaced, do you trust your government in retraining you?
I don't really think I would trust them.
Swedish people like to educate and learn more about internet and technology.
So whose responsibility is it? Is it the government's? Is it your company's responsibility?
It's
Or
everyone's.
is it...
Everyone takes. But you need help and you need structure and you need regulation to support and enable you to be the best you in your career and in your everyday life.
At this point in time, I think they're still finding how to embrace this technology and also look out for their own people. I mean, it's not some AI utopia here.
While society navigates AI's pros and cons, for some Swedish companies, AI could be like jet fuel.
I'm in the flight simulator of a Gripen, which is one of the world's most advanced, if not the world's most advanced fighter jet. So, ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We're in for a bumpy ride.
The Gripen is designed by Saab, a Swedish aerospace and defense company. Saab was founded in 1937 to develop Sweden's first fighter plane when no one would sell them one.
Yes, let's do a loop. Let's do a loop. Let's do a loop. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't. Fish. I can't do this. Where am I?
Fighter jets like the Gripen showcase Sweden's determination to innovate with cutting-edge technology in spite of their size.
Will AI make a better pilot compared to me? Of course.
I meet Saab's Chief Technology Officer, Pontus de Laval. Pontus says AI could enhance their world-class defense systems. Machine learning could make sense of sonar, radar, and sensor signals. AI could even fly their signature fighter jet.
Making them completely autonomous, that will come in the future.
There's this New York Times article that has the headline, "Robots are coming and Sweden is fine." That's because the Swedes trust that their companies and society will train them in new jobs once their jobs are displaced. How accurate a picture is this of Sweden and its industries?
I think it's an accurate picture. Going back in time, we had the shipyard industry, one of the world's largest shipyard industries, and we did the mistake then of trying to hang on to that industry, and you just waste a lot of money. And I think this policy since then, since the 70s, has been instead to retrain people and also have like a social security network, so people feel safe really to adopt the new technology. We've been able to cope with the technology shift so far, and we think we will cope with this one as well.
We worry AI could take jobs, but AI could actually enable more to work. Microsoft's Seeing AI app describes aloud what it sees on camera.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
It was created by a visually impaired developer to enable those with poor sight to make sense of the world around them. Seeing AI has been embraced at Pope Jai Thai Restaurant, a social enterprise that gives people with disabilities meaningful work.
A lot of people say that AI will take away jobs for many people. But I think your situation is slightly different, right?
I feel that it creates jobs
for us. For example, the visually impaired community, they are able to do more work.
Restaurant staff with vision or learning impairments could use seeing AI to read out orders, recipes, and menus.
Rice said, garlic honey chicken with rice, basil chicken with rice with choice of tuna made iced Thai drink.
There are about a billion people around the world with disabilities. That's about 15% of the world's population that have disabilities. And so when we think about empowering literally every person on the planet to achieve more, we also need to make sure we include people with disabilities.
In Cambridge University, Dr. Simon Beard wrote that AI can make the world fairer, but it's up to us.
I myself have a visual impairment, and my job has been immensely improved by the quality of the text-to-speech algorithms that have been developed now to turn written papers into documents that I can listen to. The problem is, of course, that there's no requirement that that is actually what the AI does. It's up to our society to actually decide how you're going to use those possibilities.
My home city, Singapore, aims to be a smart nation. But with a world hungry for AI, can we hang on to our talent?
Oh, Silicon Valley and then Singapore, right? It's been like,
Singapore! I mean...
Are you spying on me again? No. Liar. I've examined the rivalry of great nations and AI's impact on the world. Now I'll see what AI can open up for my home, Singapore.
I believe that Singapore has a role to play in the AI world, and certainly this should not be limited by the size of our country.
Oliver Tan is the chief executive of vSense,
full table!
one of Singapore's leading startups specializing in AI.
With these tools, we can amplify the relevance that Singapore has as a country. Instead of being 50 million people, we can still achieve the same impact using artificial intelligence, even though we are a country of 5.5 million people.
vSense's visual search engine empowers international retailers like Zalora and Uniqlo, enabling consumers to search their products online using just an image.
Pictures are universal language. It cuts across Japanese, Korean, Italian, so we are able to help people find products without them searching for keywords. Take a picture of a nice shirt.
Yeah.
Flamingo.
Yeah.
It's from Walmart. It's from $18.50.
Wow, Walmart so expensive. Walmart should be cheaper, you know. These big companies, they've got lots of money, and you're a smaller company in Singapore. How do you compete for the talent?
So talent is very precious, especially AI talents today. Talent is mobile today. They like to work with people that are smarter than themselves. We've built a critical mass of talent that draws in other talent from different markets. So today we have more than 14 nationalities speaking more than a dozen languages.
GovTech, the government technology agency, says Singapore must hold on to its precious AI talent and attract them back from abroad.
The Singaporeans doing great work around the world. How can we attract them back? Well, part of it is to give them cool stuff to do. They need big challenges. And because of what we're trying to do with Smart Nation, we're trying to solve a whole country's problems. This is not about designing your next game or your next consumer app.
It's not?
Sorry. It's not, right? It's about solving some really important problems. Transport, healthcare, our safety and security. How do we do social services better? So we think that interesting, exciting challenge is an important reason for people to stay here and come back here.
Is there a bit of an image problem here? I mean, people think, oh, Silicon Valley and then Singapore, right? It's a bit like, which one do I choose?
Singapore! I mean, seriously, if you're Singaporean, you want to be close to home. You want to be close to your parents. Maybe you've had some time overseas, you've had an exciting adventure, but you want to come home, right? It's home.
What happens here at GovTech?
They build cool stuff. They code great programs and they bring it together. You know, parking.sg, have you used that? The app to pay, so you don't have to use your parking coupons anymore?
Oh, yep, that one?
Down here.
That came from here.
Yeah.
Ah, very environmentally friendly, guys. Good stuff, good stuff. No one's littering anymore, too. I never did, though.
Yeah. But if you did, there's an app, the One Service app, to report on littering in town council and municipal issues.
We've been talking about how, it's about the people who are handling the data and harnessing this artificial intelligence technology. But at some point in time, won't the robots replace the people?
So our response in Singapore has always been that we have to reskill and retrain. And actually, this is not something new just in this decade because of AI. It's something that we've thought about as long as we've been an independent nation, that we will always have to retrain and reskill our workforce.
Many working Singaporeans are preparing for AI's impact by learning what they can about it.
So what's your idea of AI? Due to Hollywood, everybody thinks that, this is AI, right? No, today we are already using AI. Today's class.
Through its AI for Everyone workshop, AI Singapore aims to introduce 10,000 residents to AI within 3 years. If our adults are rethinking the way they look at AI, should our youth?
Youth are really going to be the next generation of people who will have the strongest say and will be in a position to shape this technology. And it has to start off with at the level of ideas.
As part of the Education Ministry's Gifted Education Program, University Professor Dr. Graham Ong Webb mentors some of Singapore's brightest young minds and guides their studies of how AI could impact society.
Hey, well, tell me more about your study into AI.
I'm studying AI in the area of healthcare, namely elder care.
We have learned about AI in the transportation sector.
I'm doing a research on what the public thinks of AI. For example, I could state a question: do you think AI would eliminate the human race?
So do they think we're going to be eliminated?
Mostly not. After my research, I definitely feel that there's a need for greater public awareness, because I think most people are either foreign towards the idea of AI or they underestimate AI.
So how does working with these students prepare us for the future?
The mantle is really on the next generation of Singaporeans, and that's where we need to be investing a lot of our energies, preparing them for the future prospect of AI.
May I? Yeah! Awesome, let's do it.
At Child First Singapore, they teach students to code and program robots by the time they graduate at 6 years old.
Diagonals like a cross.
There's the A-B pattern. A, B, A, B. We can repeat 2 times.
We started as a bilingual school where we practice half-day English and half-day Chinese. But with the advent of AI, we feel that it's important for children to learn the third language, which we believe is coding, the language to communicate with robots and AI.
Now look at this function 1.
There is a repeat sign like 16 normal, 55, for 16 normal, 55. After turn right 45, 16.
As you know, for learning a language, it's best to learn it when you're young.
Sarah, what's 22?
The robot actually lifted up the head.
And so does everyone love this, or have you had some criticism?
There are also some parents that feel that coding is for programmers. My child is going to be a doctor or lawyer. Why is this relevant to my child? But the reality is AI is going to impact all industries and all jobs.
So how can exposing children to robots and AI make them more human?
For example, like the robot dance that you saw earlier. That is a creative endeavor. Okay, they need to think about how to position the robots, what dance steps they need to do, the music. This goes beyond just the coding and the programming side. They have to communicate, they have to work as teams, they have to solve problems, they experience failure and success. The robot dance is just the means of training them on these much bigger things. As a result, they become more human.
Like this? Ah! From what I've seen, the next generation will have the real power over AI. How the future turns out will depend on the values we pass on to them.
Inside,